Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to beautiful Labatt Memorial Park for this evening's contest between the visiting Welland Jackfish and the London Majors. It's a great night for baseball, the crowd rolling in. There was a London Majors Hall of Fame ceremony before the game here today, just now wrapping up here at field level at Labatt Park, as it is a terrific night for baseball all around. To get a look at the skyline here at Labatt Park for this evening's contest. We are up in the Game Day London broadcast booth, and my name is Dylan Baker. Alongside me, Chris Lazar. You may be familiar with his pitching in the IBL with the Hamilton Cardinals, Welland Jackfish. He's the author of the IBL Power Rankings this season and the host of the Inside Intercounty podcast. Chris, great to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. I'm excited to be here. Haven't done something like this before, so really excited to get this going, and we should have a good ball game here between London and Welland.
Two teams that have got a lot of great matchups in the past between them, but this season two very opposite teams. Obviously, the Welland Jackfish coming in very hot and the London Majors very cold. Let's start with the Majors, Chris. It's been a tough start to the season for them.
Yeah, so London came into the season obviously back-to-back champions, right? And expectations were fairly high for them, and unfortunately to this point they haven't met those, but it is a long season. We're just near the end of June. There have been a few roster changes, and we'll see how those take effect, hoping to take advantage of a Welland team that's lost 2 out of 3.
The Welland Jackfish, as you mentioned, loses 2 out of their last 3 games, but they did have a giant winning streak mixed in there this season. They sit in first place in the IBL just ahead of the Barrie Bay Cats, so Welland has had a terrific beginning to this season.
Yeah, Welland got off to a rough start with their first 2 games, but then they rattled off 13 straight wins, beating teams fairly significantly on the way. Came back down to earth. You can't really expect teams to win 40 straight, right? So, yeah, they've really established themselves as one of the teams to beat in the league this season.
And a lot of that has to do with their offense. The Welland Jackfish can really hit the baseball.
Yeah, their offense, 1 through 9, they've been outstanding all season. Even their bench guys have been great. They've got talent up and down the roster. We'll see if they can keep things going, but to this point, so far, so good for them.
The Majors are coming off 3 straight losses last week, a loss in Kitchener on Thursday, a loss in Hamilton on Friday, and a loss in Guelph on Saturday. 3 straight road games, 3 straight defeats, and that was just more of the same for this Majors ball club, still trying to get back into the win column. And the losses, despite that Hamilton one being pretty close, not overly tight games in those 3 contests.
Yeah, and frustrations really have boiled over, mainly last week. You really saw that in the game against Hamilton. But the hope with London is that that was rock bottom and that things are only going to go up from here, and it starts this weekend with the Canada Day weekend, a big slate of games for the London Majors. You
mentioned that there have been some roster moves for this Majors ball club. We'll get into those just a little bit later. Let's talk about the Welland Jackfish. Up 5-0 last night. They lose that game to the Kitchener Panthers.
Yeah, they had a rough start from Scott Gillespie, uncharacteristic from him this season. But yeah, they had a big lead and unfortunately let it slip away. So that's something they're going to want to tighten up. They're going to want to tighten up their defense. They're going to want to throw more strikes on the mound and kind of get the good times rolling again.
We mentioned off the top that there was the London Majors Hall of Fame ceremony here tonight at the ballpark. Kyle Pivowarchuk inducted into the London Majors Hall of Fame, a guy who spent 7 seasons with the Majors, hit .333, .227, .408, .354, .373, .387, and .310 over those 7 seasons for a career batting average of .354 with the Majors. A tremendously talented baseball player. He made the first All-Star team as an outfielder in 2005, first All-Star team as a second baseman in 2006, and then the second All-Star team as a third baseman in 2007 and 2009 for the London Majors. Not only that, he was a terrific hockey player as well, played Junior D in 2000, then moved to Junior B with the London Nationals in 2001, before jumping all the way up to play with the London Knights in 2002 and 2003, going back to Junior B in 2004 before playing for Western University, and then he was off to Germany where he played and coached from 2009 to 2020. Just an all-around great athlete, great ball player, and the Majors were honored to induct him into the Hall of Fame here today. They also honor the 1975 championship team. That is a London Sports Hall of Fame member. So a lot of history here tonight at the ballpark, Chris.
Yeah, that was a lot of numbers you just rattled off. That was pretty impressive the way we were able to get those off. Yeah, so they're obviously, hoping that he brings a little bit of that good vibes to the ballpark, and with Aso and Boone on the mound, they got a pretty good feeling every time he takes the hill. So it should be a good one.
Owen Boone out there now, as are all the Majors players. We're nearly set for the national anthems here at Labatt Park. We will take a quick break and be right back here on Majors TV as the Jackfish are in town to take on the Majors.
I want to ride this pony, but I suffer from low E.
Millions of people are suffering from low energy, commonly known as low E.
Low E has hurt my performance in the bedroom. I haven't been able to make the bed in years.
Now there's hope.
Planet Fitness replaces low E with Big E, which keeps you energized and glowing all day. Simply join through the free PF app for only $15 a month.
Planet Fitness is a proud partner of your London Majors.
You're watching.
Here's the pitch. Joseph drills it to right center field. That ball's going back to the warning track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball. Starling Joseph, a 2-run home run.
London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of Majors TV.
You're watching London Majors Baseball.
London Majors Baseball. London Majors Baseball on Majors TV.
Welcome back to Labatt Park for the Jackfish and Majors. Just about to have the ceremonial first pitch in this one, thrown by Kyle Pivowarchuk, Majors Hall of Fame member this season, getting inducted here today. And he's still got it, Chris. Great strike there for Pivowarchuk.
Yeah, can't knock it. It's been a while.
Looking to throw some strikes here tonight for the London Majors will be Owen Boone as he gets set to pose for the picture. Owen Boone, a stellar arm for the Majors over the past number of seasons, has been with the organization since 2014, a couple of trips to the Frontier League here and there in that span, but a real stalwart of this Majors rotation off to another great start to the year.
Yeah, and there's really no question who the aces of this London Majors pitching staff. Throwing to a 3.85 ERA so far this season, leading the league in strikeouts while also limiting the walks with only 5. And from what I've seen from him this year, it looks like he's throwing the ball with a little bit more velocity. So, again, hoping to build off that. Still looking for that first win of the season, though. And with a new catcher behind the plate, hopefully they find a little bit of chemistry and find the groove early.
That no-win stat is a wild one, Chris, because he's got 39 strikeouts, 5 walks, an ERA 3.85 in 4 starts. It feels like every time he's been out there, it's been the bullpen that has lost him a lead late. He started the season opener against the Toronto Maple Leafs at Christie Pitts, and he pitched really well in that contest before the bullpen gave that game away. Then it was the same story in his next start in Hamilton against the Cardinals. The past 2, he's been on the hook for the losses, but he's been terrific this season and all around just a great pitcher for London. You mentioned the velocity has ticked up this year. Already a pretty hard thrower before this, but that's added another element to his game, another weapon for him this season.
Yeah, and you were talking about the bullpen, and that also affects his own stats. I'm sure he could have an ERA below 3.85, maybe even in the low 3s. But you go back to that game against Hamilton, probably stayed in the game a little bit too long just because they don't really have the arms back there that maybe give them that chance to take that rest. So hopefully they can turn that around a little bit here. Boone obviously is going to give them a chance to win. He does every time out. So we'll see how it goes.
Matteo Porcelato digging into the batter's box here for the Welland Jackfish. He will lead things off against Owen Boone. You mentioned the new catcher behind the plate in Chris Ruiz for the Majors. He's expected to bolster this Majors lineup and be a steady presence back there behind the dish. Porcelato in the left-handed batter's box looks out as Boone goes into the windup. Here's the first pitch of the ball game on this Friday night. Strike one called from Justin Van Horn, the home plate umpire. Over at third base, it's Steve Cochran, and at first, it's Rob Stevenson. Boone goes into the windup. Here's the 0-1 on its way. Inside. Beautiful 26 degrees here at first pitch at Labatt Park.
A little bit of a lineup change from the Welland Jackfish tonight. Gio Morello, who is generally the leadoff hitter, hitting in the 2-hole tonight. We'll see how that affects their offense.
Boone into the windup. Here's the 1-1 home. Inside corner. It's 1-2.
And you can already see what's made Boone so effective this season. Working the fastball in, working the fastball out. Really keeps hitters on their toes.
It'll be Porcelato, Morello, and Moretto, the top three for the Jackfish in this order, as that one's bounced foul. Porcelato takes his time to dig back into the batter's box here. Chris Ruiz trying to learn his new arm. Ruiz fresh into the city as well, so has had a ton of time to gel with Owen Boone. That one misses low. Obviously worked together in the bullpen, but how difficult is that for a pitcher, Chris, in that spot? New catcher that you haven't really worked with before coming in, and all of a sudden you gotta see him for the first time in a game.
It's difficult, especially when you're a guy like Owen Boone who likes to kind of dictate his own game, for the catcher and him to get on the same page.
That one is in the air to left field. Starling Joseph going back on it to the warning track. He's up against the wall, and he made the catch. Joseph had a long way to run to track that baseball down, but he came up with it, and there's a big first out in the top of the first inning.
Yeah, and Boone made a little bit of a mistake there. He left that pitch over the plate. Porcelato gave it a good drive to right. Didn't have enough of it, though. Maybe if that's a day game, that might leave, but Joseph did a really good job of tracking that one down.
Little bit of wind here at first pitch, blowing towards left field, maybe a little bit in as well. See the flags going on your screen there by the scoreboard. Here at Labatt Park as Gio Morello steps into the batter's box. Morello playing center field for the Jackfish. In this one, gets low in that stance. Into the windup, Boone, breaking ball. That one misses high for ball one. Here's the 1-0 from the Majors righty. Cut on and missed by Morello, and it's a ball and a strike.
And there's that good fastball that we talked about with Owen Boone, right? Blowing it right past him on a 1-0 count. I'm sure Morello was probably sitting on that. Not have been expecting it to come in with that heat.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the pitch to Morello on its way. That one just going to miss, and it's 2-1. Chris, I got to ask, you've played with Morello before, last year in Welland. He's got a really low stance. Have you asked him about that? Do you know why he gets so low at the plate there?
I actually haven't asked him about that, but I think it's just kind of what makes him comfortable, right? He feels athletic in that stance, and he's had good success with it throughout his IBL career.
He absolutely has. This time a fly out to Starling Joseph in left field. Joseph's seen a lot of the action early on, recording the first couple of outs in this ball game. So there's 2 gone as Steven Moretto steps into the batter's box. Moretto batting .292 on the year for the Jackfish. First righty Boone's had to face in the ball game. Breaking ball in the first offering. That's in there for a strike. No balls, 1 strike. Pitch on its way. Just off the plate, and it's 1-1. Moretto, no batting gloves as he stands in the right-handed batter's box.
That's a little bit of a change for him. He's been struggling a little bit recently, maybe just trying to switch up the mojo a little bit.
Breaking ball, that one's ripped foul. You a superstitious guy? Would you do something like that if you were in a funk?
I have a couple superstitions. The main one being don't step on the foul line. I would say that's pretty much universal among all baseball players. I tested that one when I was in high school and it didn't work out. I'll get into that story probably a little bit later, but that's really the main one. And then if I'm pitching well, I'll sit in the same spot in the dugout, and I'll generally get pretty upset if somebody tries to take it from me.
Owen Boone ahead of Steven Moretto, 1-2. Pitch on its way, on the ground to third base. Moving over to his left is Robert Mackey. Good throw over to Kane McGee, and the side is retired, so Boone sets the Jackfish down 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Boone giving the Majors a chance on the bats in a scoreless game after the top of the first. They are going to be facing James Bradwell for the Welland Jackfish in his first start of the year.
Yeah, Bradwell hasn't started actually in a few years now. His last start came playing summer ball in 2021 when he was still in school, so should be on a pitch count. I talked to a couple of guys from the Welland Jackfish before the game, told me it's probably around 60 pitches or so. So we'll see how efficient he can be and how many innings they can get out of him. They obviously have a game again tomorrow night, and they played last night too, so the bullpen might be a little bit fatigued here. He's going to need to give them some efficiency with those 60 pitches.
He will. We'll see if he's able to do that on the mound. You're telling me before the game, Chris, that Bradwell, lots of velocity.
Yes,
coming off the bump.
He's going to be one of the harder throwing starters this league has seen this season. When he was in school, he was around 94, 95. So velocity that not a lot of guys in this league have, and the Welland Jackfish seem to have it in abundance with him and Davey Mendez and a couple of other dudes that are sitting in the 90s. So we'll see how the London Majors bats adjust to, one, an arm that throws harder than what they're used to, and two, a guy that they haven't seen before.
Davey Mendez will likely be seen if this game is close later on. Despite the fact that Welland coughed up a lead yesterday, they were able to limit the amount of arms that they used. Gillespie got the start. Then it was Brennan Underhill for 3 innings, and Will Jackman finished things off. So they were able to kind of keep the bullpen in a decent spot coming into this game. But like you mentioned, busy weekend for them. So getting as much length as they can get out of Bradwell is going to be key.
Yeah, and they're currently missing actually one of their most key relievers. Chris Boato currently is battling something. He came out of a game last week. I don't think he's going to be available tonight. So there's another guy that they're down without. So tonight's going to have to be a full effort from the pitching staff, a quote-unquote bullpen game, if you will.
You see the first two batters for the Majors. Miles Miller just picked up a couple of weeks ago, and Chris Ruiz just signed today. Ruiz played in the Frontier League last year where he hit 176. The previous season, though, in the Frontier League, he batted .322, had 2 home runs, 20 runs batted in for Great Falls. Pardon me, that was the Pioneer League that he played in 2021. So we'll see how he impacts this Majors lineup. It'll be Miller, Ruiz, and Byron Reichstahl in the top 3. Cleveland Brownlee, Kane McGee, and Starling Joseph, 4, 5, and 6. Tommy Reyes, Cruz, Robert Mackey, Keith Candell, bat 7, 8, and 9. Interesting, the Majors manager, Rube Chanardad, has bumped Starling Joseph down to the 6th spot in the lineup today and put Kane McGee up in the 5-hole.
Yeah, he's pretty much trying everything to get a little bit of offense out of their lineup, right?
First pitch to Miles Miller is going to miss inside from Bradwell for ball 1. Miller, a Major in 2019, acquired at the signing deadline, then spent some time in the Seattle Mariners organization. Returns to them this season, hits that one hard on the ground towards first base. Porcelato takes his time, gets the bag before Miller does, and there's one away in the bottom of the first.
And that's exactly what Welland's going to need out of Bradwell tonight. Quick outs, 3 pitches or less. Try to get guys out of the box. If they get on base, so be it. But try to get them out of the box and keep your pitch count low. Give them as much length as possible.
Bradwell, 4 strikeouts in his 3 innings of work so far this season, 3 walks as well. Going to look to keep that pitch count relatively low to get as far as he can in this contest as we get our first look at Chris Ruiz in the batter's box. Into the windup goes Bradwell. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike. Here is the 0-1 from Bradwell. Breaking ball. That one just misses the strike zone. It's a ball and a strike.
Interesting that Ruiz is batting in the 2-hole right away. As you mentioned, last year playing in the Frontier League, batting a .67 or .76. Sorry, not exactly an offensive force based on last year's production, but we'll see if he can give them something, a little bit of a spark here in the lineup.
You look at the numbers from the year prior, though. He did hit over 300 in the Pioneer League. So, Majors manager Rube Chanardad hoping that he can get some similar offense to that season as Ruiz takes that one off the plate, low and away, 2-2. Ruiz on his baseball reference page listed as a catcher, left fielder, and center fielder as that one misses. So some versatility for the Majors backstop.
Yeah, and that's going to be important for them with the other catcher they have on the roster with Deolio. If Ruiz is able to hit, finding a spot for him in the lineup is going to be important.
That one fouled straight back, so the count remains full here. Majors do have a lot of outfielders. If Ruiz gets a game in the outfield here and there, they've got Starling Joseph, Miles Miller, Byron Reichstein patrolling the outfield here tonight. Austin Wilkie, Drew Lawrence, Will Pollard, Judd Walker on the bench as that one misses outside. For ball 4, so the Majors have the first base runner of this contest as Ruiz gets a walk.
And that was a strong professional at bat from Ruiz there, working a long count, looking for the pitch that he wanted. Didn't get it, but was able to work a walk and get on base.
Fouled off some tough pitches in that at bat as well as Byron Reichstein steps into the batter's box for the first time. Reichstein's had a bit of an up and down season. Started the year really hot, then went a little bit cold for a while. Trying to bounce back here. First pitch to Reichstein's on the outside corner from Bradwell for strike one.
And Reichstein mentioned to us, we had him on the podcast actually last week, he mentioned to us that he would consider himself a streaky hitter, and he went into one of those cold streaks where he was 0 for 13.
That one lined towards the left field line, but slicing foul, and it's 0-2.
But the last couple games, 2 for 3 in Hamilton, 1 for 3 in Guelph, so maybe he's turning it around, and now he's going to go on a bit of a hot streak, and the Majors are certainly hoping that that's the case.
He's such a key bat in this Majors lineup. They need him going, right? Especially when the offense is not quite consistently there. You need Byron to be at his best, and he seems to be getting off that schneid that he was on for a little bit.
And you've really seen it in the playoffs the last 2 years. Huge contributor in the postseason.
On the move is Ruiz from first base. There will be no throw as Reichstein goes down swinging, and Chris Ruiz swipes second base.
He got an outstanding jump. He was 3/4 of the way to second base by the time Bradwell picked up his leg. So he must have a tell on Bradwell. It'll be interesting to see if he gives that to the rest of the lineup and they use that and take advantage of it every time they get on base.
Interesting to see Ruiz run. We haven't seen a lot of speed out of the catcher's spot over the past couple of seasons. Deolio earlier this year and Robert Mullen last year. Terrific hitters, but not much speed. Ruiz putting that on display there as Cleveland Brownlee steps into the batter's box for London.
And early on, you can see the professionalism that Ruiz is going to bring to this lineup. Coming to the plate, working an 8-pitch at-bat, working a walk, getting on base, finding a tell in the pitcher's delivery to be able to steal second base easily. Those are the kind of things that winning ball players do that really helps teams win games.
Brownlee has a runner in scoring position, albeit with 2 away. First pitch is in there for a strike. Brownlee unhappy with that call. Bradwell sets. Peeks back at Ruiz at second base. Here's the offering on its way. That one misses, gets away from Cocker, and Ruiz is going to pick up another 90 feet.
And the second he saw that ball get away from him, it didn't get away from him very far, but he knew that Cocker didn't know where the ball was. And as soon as he recognized that, he took third base with ease.
Ruiz making a really good first impression in terms of baseball IQ here in this first inning in his first trip to the plate with the Majors.
Yeah, and again, the professional experience is really coming to show with all of the things that he's done. And these are things that the Majors haven't really done so far this year. So it's nice to have a guy who gives them an aspect that they haven't really had.
Runner over at third base, 2 away, pitch to Brownlee, a breaking ball. That one misses away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Cleveland. Bradwell with the right arm hanging. Looks in for the sign. Brownlee steps out. Called time again. Bradwell, as soon as he got back into the box, Bradwell came set, and Cleveland wasn't quite ready for that. They appear to be timed up properly now. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 away. Chris Ruiz stands over at third base. The pitch to Brownlee, fouled that one off, and it's 2-2.
It doesn't look like the Majors are getting a really good look at the fastball right now. Clearly, that velocity is having some play. Even Ruiz in his at-bat wasn't able to square up the heater. Byron struck out on a fastball that was probably a strike. Brownlee just missed that one. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to make that adjustment as the game goes on.
Bradwell looks in for the sign from his catcher, Sam Cocker. Comes set out there on the mound. 2 balls, 2 strikes, looking to put Brownlee away. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Bradwell allows Ruiz to reach all the way to third base, but is able to strike out the big bat of Cleveland Brownlee and retire the side in the bottom of the first. We're through 1 complete here at Labatt Park. No score between the Jackfish and Majors.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of MajorsTV.
You're watching London Majors Baseball.
London Majors Baseball. London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Back here at Labatt Park for the second inning of play between the London Majors and the Welland Jackfish. A sign there for Cleveland Brownlee, who got his 500th RBI last week, a huge milestone in Cleveland's career. Some fans here to celebrate.
It's an incredibly impressive achievement to get 500 RBIs in a league where you play 30 to 40 games a season. Cleveland's been around for a while. He's been doing it for a while, and whenever the day comes that he's no longer coming to the field is going to be a really sad day for baseball fans in London. But as long as he's here, they're going to celebrate him.
Absolutely. Some good artwork on those signs as well by that young fan. Cleveland, not only a talented player, but of course a fan favorite. Really involved with the fans, will always talk to them, sign autographs during games. He's doing it right now in that Majors dugout. Just a great guy that is beloved in this community. As James Smybert steps into the batter's box to lead things off, it'll be Smybert, Brown, and Cocker for the Jackfish. 4, 5, and 6 in their order. Against Owen Boone, who set down the first 3 in order. Into the windup goes Boone. Here's the pitch to Smybert in the air. Shallow left field. Back on it, Candell. Joseph calls him off, and he will make the catch. Bobbled it a little bit, but holds on for the first out of the top of the second. Joseph's recorded 3 of the 4 so far for the Majors.
With that one pitch out with Smybert, Bradwell had a bit of a long inning last time out. We should see Hogan Brown try to work a count here, maybe take the first pitch, take till he sees a strike. Bradwell just got back to the dugout, needs a little bit of a second to recover, so Boone might be able to steal a couple easy strikes here.
Hogan Brown in the batter's box, batting .409 this season for the Jackfish. Swings right through that first one, so not taking.
Yeah, that made me look real smart, didn't it?
He knew he was going to get the fastball. He was ready for it and just came up empty on the swing.
And that goes back to what we've been talking about so far with Boone with that velocity, right? Spinning the ball really well, getting out of the swing plane of the Welland Jackfish hitters.
That one in there for a strike as well. So Boone ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Looking to set down the number 5 hitter in this Jackfish lineup, which top to bottom can hit. So especially in the heart of the order, you want to get out of these at-bats as quickly as possible. The 0-2 home. Brown fouls that one straight back, and the count remains 0-2.
And Brown's really bounced around the lineup a lot. Started the season near the bottom of the order, worked his way to the top, was hitting leadoff for a while. Now he's hitting in the 5-hole. I think some of that has to do with trying to get a little bit more production. And as he's one of the guys with a higher batting average, hitting .409 this season, trying to be able to get a guy there in the middle of the order that can drive in runs.
Boone into the windup. Here's the 0-2 home. That one well high, and it's 1-2. Brown digs back into the batter's box, still behind on the count, 1-2. Against Owen Boone here. The pitch on its way. That one fouled back towards the parking lot.
Lots of fastballs early from Boone. He's been staying aggressive with the fastball, and you'll see a lot of top pitchers do that first time through the order, knowing that they're going to be facing these guys 3-4 times, not really trying to show their entire arsenal of pitches in the first or second inning.
Well, especially when you've got a fastball like Boone does, you can throw that whenever, and particularly first time through the order. Into the windup, trying to put away Hogan Brown, and he does so with the breaking ball right there. Cut on and missed for strike 3, and there's 2 gone in the top of the second inning.
And that's been his most effective off-speed pitch throughout his career, is that changeup. Gets under the barrel, works really well with that high spin fastball. Should see him working that a lot, especially to the left-handed batters, and Welland has a lot of left-handed batters.
Sam Cocker into the batter's box here for the Jackfish. Only the second righty that Boone has seen through 6 hitters. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. It's 0-1. Boone shakes Ruiz once, now gets the sign he wants. Here is the 0-1 home. In the dirt, blocked by the Majors catcher. Boone frustrated with that last offering. One ball, one strike to Cocker in his second IBL season. Here's the pitch. That one on the outside corner for strike 2. Cocker hit .348 last year, 5 home runs, 38 runs batted in. Into the windup goes Boone. Here's the 1-2 home. In the air, right field. Going back on it, Reichstein after initially coming in. Reaches up, and he makes the catch to retire the side. A tough play for the Majors right fielder, but he comes away with that baseball. And Welland still scoreless after 2 innings. Tough play there for Byron Reichstein. Initially broke in, and you'll often see outfielders take a step back every single play first because it's easier to come in than go back. Byron initially went in on that baseball, then had to go a long way back, almost to the warning track to come up with that one.
Those are the hardest balls to read, are the line drives that are hit relatively right at you. Really hard to read whether or not that's going to have enough life to stay up and go past you, or if it's going to have topspin on it and drop in front of you. Especially at this time of day right now with the sun kind of right over the top of the backstop. Byron's looking pretty much right into it. I know he's right on the edge of the shade there, but yeah, he was able to recover and make a good play.
As a guy who's pitched here, what is the sun situation like at Labatt Park on a night like this?
I'll say it's easier. It's definitely more difficult to hit early on when the sun is behind you as a pitcher, and as a hitter you're looking into the sun as a backdrop. As it gets later, it gets a little bit easier to see. You get that nice night backdrop. As a pitcher, I've always liked pitching at Labatt. It has one of the better mounds in the league. It really does feel like you're on top of the hitter at times. And yeah, I've had a decent amount of success here until about the 6th inning when, ironically, it gets dark. So
James Bradwell entering his 2nd inning of work here against the Majors. Smooth sailing in that first, aside from Ruiz getting aboard on the walk and then working his way over on his own. Not too much contact at all, aside from Miles Miller getting that ground ball to first base hit pretty hard, but the Majors weren't able to square him up in the first.
Yeah, relatively efficient inning from Bradwell through 17 pitches in that first, 10 strikes, 7 balls. Again, Ruiz did put together that good at-bat. I'm interested to see how much he works in the off-speed stuff. He got a strikeout on Brownlee on an off-speed pitch to end the inning, but I think that was the only off-speed pitch he threw for a strike the entire inning. So we'll see where his command is.
Kane McGee will lead things off at the bottom of the 2nd inning for the Majors. McGee batting .313 this season through 32 at-bats. From Almonte, Ontario. Into the windup goes Bradwell. First pitch to McGee. Checked his swing. Didn't matter. That's a called strike. And it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1 home. That one's going to miss high, and it's 1-1. McGee, a big guy, 6'2", 245. Only 1 extra base hit on the season. A double. Lines that one foul to the backstop, and it's 1-2.
And you can see Bradwell has a very free, very easy delivery, and these are the kind of guys that hitters have a tough time against because they're slow coming at you, and then the ball pops out of their hand. And you can see that the Majors have had a tough time timing up that heater early on.
McGee went 3 for 4 last week in Hamilton. Here's the pitch. That one's up and away, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He was in the lineup pretty frequently to begin the year, then drew out for a little bit before coming back against the Cardinals. Two balls, 2 strikes. The big left-handed hitting first baseman. The offering from Bradwell, breaking ball, and it's a beauty. Called strike 3. Kane McGee doesn't like the decision from home plate umpire Justin Van Horn, but there's one gone now in the bottom of the second.
And that's really tough for McGee, having never seen Bradwell before, seeing all fastballs, couple fastballs up in the zone, and then you get that pitch that starts up there and then ends up in the middle of the plate. Really tough to make that adjustment first time through, but he'll keep that in the back of his mind for his next at-bat.
Starling Joseph will dig into the batter's box now. Joseph batting .246 on the year. Mentioned how Cleveland Brownlee's been a fan favorite for years. Starling Joseph becoming a fan favorite here at Labatt Park. Breaking ball, first pitch. That one misses inside on the Majors left fielder. Starling always having a good time at the ballpark, always dancing, moving around, interacting with fans. Native of the Dominican Republic, came over to the Majors last year. Breaking ball, that one drops in.
And you can even see with the way that they're approaching him. Sorry to cut you off. You can even see with the way they're approaching him. First guy to see back-to-back breaking balls to start an at-bat.
Here's the 1-1 home. That one's a fastball, and it's inside.
Definitely the last couple of years, one of the guys that when you do come to Labatt Park, he's a name you circle in the lineup and say, we don't want that guy to beat us today.
Batting in the 6th hole here today for the Majors. The 2-1 on its way home. Breaking ball. Joseph chops that one foul, and it's 2-2. Alan Ross asking in the chat if it's Chris Lazar up here with me in the Game Day London broadcast booth. Yes, it is, Alan. Chris making his broadcast debut here tonight.
Yeah, and it's I will say this, it's a lot easier on TV the way it looks versus actually doing it.
That one hit hard on the ground in the hole. Nice play by Luis Jean. The throw to first is a long one. Joseph a dive, but it's in time to get him. A great play by Luis Jean, the shortstop, and a good stretch from Mateo Porcelato, and there's 2 gone in the bottom of the second.
That's an outstanding play by Jean to go into the hole there and make a really strong throw to first base. I'm not sure it would have made a difference, but Joseph diving into first base, you're not giving the umpire a great look as to whether or not you beat the throw. I'm not sure it would have made a difference. I think Jean probably still gets him, but made the job really tough on the umpire to call him safe there.
Perfect throw from the Jackfish shortstop on a ball that was deep in the hole. Really good play on both ends there. Here's the pitch to Tommy Reyes Cruz. It's a strike, and it's 0-1.
And Jean has one of the best arms when it comes to infielders in the entire league, and he really showcased it there off his back foot. No momentum, able to get it there on a line.
Here's the 0-1 home. Reyes Cruz comes up empty on that swing, and quickly he's behind 0-2. Into the windup. Here is the 0-2 home. Reyes Cruz fouls that one back, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Bradwell takes a breath. Into the windup he goes, trying to put Reyes Cruz away in the air. Center field, moving back on it is Morello. He's camped under it. And he's got it for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 2nd inning. We're through 2 complete here at Labatt Park. Neither team able to get much going offensively. No score as we head to the 3rd.
Here we go.
Believe me, you've never heard a talk show like this.
I'm sleeping with Joe Carter. By the way, Joe did not touch the ball.
Yeah, I have to say, your voice is fantastic. Meet Smitty.
Listen, I'm the brains here.
And Mitty.
And I'm the good-looking funny one.
This is the Smitty Mitty Show.
Catch new episodes of the Smitty and Mitty Show wherever you get your podcasts.
watching London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Back here at Labatt Park, beautiful look at our skyline here in downtown London, the best view in the Intercounty Baseball League. Just a privilege every Friday night to be here at the ballpark, especially when the sun is setting. These fans getting treated to a pretty good ball game up to this point. No score between the Jackfish and the Majors. Owen Boone and James Bradwell have been going toe-to-toe on the mound so far. 2 quick innings for both of these arms as Boone looks to keep that rolling into the top of the third, excuse me. Didn't have my score sheet updated after the Reyes Cruz out, so top of the third inning, Boone will face Caleb Furstake to get things going. Furstake, a native of Waterdown, Ontario. Played with the Jackfish in 2019, back with the team here in 2023. Went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a walk yesterday against the Kitchener Panthers. Boone into the windup. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball. That one's high, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, Furstake in 2019 hit .312 for the Jackfish, obviously 4 years ago. But the number that really stands out there is the 22 stolen bases in 27 games. He's got a lot of speed, and he's looking to get on base and showcase that to lead off the inning.
1-0 home on the ground towards first. McGee's got a tough play, but luckily for him, that one is foul, and it's 1-1. Furstake, I remember, was the leadoff man for a lot of that 2019 season for the Jackfish, and then went back to school just before playoffs rolled around. He was a very talented leadoff hitter, could get on base all the time, and you mentioned the high batting average there, and stole a lot of bases. That 2019 Jackfish team was built around their speed. There was a lot of stolen bases going around on that ball club as that one's fouled off.
And that's been the way that they've been built pretty much since they got to Welland last year, setting an IBL record, both individually in stolen bases per season and as a team. This year, not so much the case, but they have beefed up their lineup a little bit. They have a little bit more pop, but they do still have guys like Furstake and Nicholson and Dupuis who can still burn on the bases. 1
ball, 2 strikes from Owen Boone. Pitch on its way on the ground, slowly hit, charging in Reyes Cruz. The throw to Kane McGee is in time, and there's one gone here in the top of the third inning. So 1 quick out here in the top of the third inning, and Luis Jean will step into the batter's box for the Jackfish, former Hamilton Cardinal. Fun fact about him, he's from the same city as Starling Joseph in the Dominican Republic. First pitch is cut on and missed by Jean. It's 0-1.
Jean had an interesting season last year with the Hamilton Cardinals, was hurt for a majority of it, came back, really found his stride in the playoffs, coincidentally, where he was unbelievable for the Hamilton Cardinals, almost single-handedly winning Game 5 against Guelph in the first round.
That one misses, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. That was a shocking upset, I remember, last season when Hamilton took down Guelph in the first round of the playoffs.
Maybe the most surprising result I've ever seen in this league.
Here's the 1-1. That one misses, and it's 2-1.
Besides the fact that it was a 2-for-7 matchup, you looked at that, especially that Game 5 individually. You had Claudio Custodio starting for Guelph, who had one of the greatest seasons in IBL history, against a Hamilton team that was kind of just piecing it together.
2-1 home, just off the outside corner, and it's 3-1.
Fun story about that game, by the way. Jose Fernandez and Dowry Torres, who were the 2 import relievers for Hamilton, had food poisoning, and so they were only able to go 1 inning each in that game.
Wow.
And so a Hamilton Cardinals team that was already depleted was even more depleted and found a way to win that game in extras.
On the ground, right back up the middle. Reyes Cruz ranging to his right. He's going to have no play as Jean beats this one out. And the Jackfish have the first hit of this ball game. Tough play there for Reyes Cruz up the middle. Kept that one in the infield, but never really had a shot at an out at first base.
And Gene's got a lot of speed. He doesn't steal many bases, but he does have speed. And when he hits a ball on the ground, you better get to it quickly, or else he's gonna beat you to first base.
That'll bring up Tyler Dupuis here with one away in the top of the third inning. Dupuis, the second baseman for the Jackfish. He's got Gene standing over at first base. First pitch from Boone is in there for a strike. Boone peeks over at first base. One out, a runner on. Boone holding a long time on that one. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. Dupuis lost the bat in the process. Took a big hack at that high fastball, and it's 0-2.
Might want to get some more pine tar on that thing. That's never a good feeling as a hitter when you swing and you not only swing and miss, but you lose the bat in the process.
Oftentimes that bat will go flying towards the dugout of the side on which you hit, but that one kind of went straight back there.
That was one of the more impressive ones I've seen. I haven't seen one like that where it barely gets away from the dirt.
He lost it late, I think, on that swing. Here's the pitch. In the air, right field. That one slicing, and it will be well foul. So we'll do it again on 0-2.
Dupuis, one of the fastest guys in the league. Going to be really tough to double off here. So if he hits one on the ground, London's got to make sure they get the first out before they worry about getting two.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Dupuis trying to battle here against the tough righty in Boone. He comes set out there on the mound. Gene extends the lead. Leaning a little bit, he's on the move. That one is going to miss. Here's a throw from Ruiz. It's a beauty, and it's in time to get him. Chris Ruiz throws out Luis Jean trying to steal second base, and now there's 2 gone.
And you were talking about Starlin Joseph being a fan favorite. Ruiz might become a fan favorite overnight here. He's had an outstanding first impression, and that was an incredible throw right on the money to get Luis Jean, who is a pretty fast base runner.
Ruiz looks really athletic back there. We saw it on the stolen base. He's not afraid to steal a base when the opportunity presents itself, and a really strong throw. Just seems like he's a very athletic catcher behind the plate. The 1-2 on its way from Boone. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So the caught stealing changes the complexion of this inning, and Boone gets out of it without allowing a run.
Going back to your point on Ruiz, he's definitely shown off his athleticism, and it's a bit of a breath of fresh air again, giving the London Majors something they haven't really had in the past. Going back to last year, Robert Mullen, the catcher, outstanding hitter, didn't really do much else. He was pretty good behind the dish, but wasn't stealing bases and doing things like that. Ruiz kind of adding a little bit in every single category for them, and he's shown that early. One thing I really like about him that I've noticed already from him catching is he does a really good job of presenting a low target. He does a really good job of presenting the glove to the pitcher, presents it with confidence, and that means a lot to a pitcher when it comes to especially a new guy who you've never thrown to before. You can tell that Owen Boone has full confidence throwing to Ruiz right now.
And that's huge. You mentioned it there. Like, you need to be able to rely on your catcher, and it seems right now that Boone's able to do that with Ruiz. Granted, small sample size, right? It's 2 innings, 2.5 innings of an IBL game so far for Chris Ruiz, but all signs are positive at this point.
Yeah, and it makes your life so much easier as a pitcher when you don't have to worry about what pitch to call, and you don't have to worry about if you're going to mess up the signs or if the guy's going to steal second and third base on you with ease. It just makes your life so much easier as a pitcher where you can just go out there and just focus on throwing the ball to where he wants you to throw it. And, again, the way he presents the target, the way he gives signs, the way that he's able to throw guys out at second base, all of it just projects confidence, and that really reverberates around the entire pitching staff.
Owen Boone has had a great start to this ball game, has set down the Jackfish in order through 3 despite the base hit from Luis Jean, erased by the caught stealing from Chris Ruiz, as you mentioned. And James Bradwell is through 2 complete innings, scoreless. He will look to do the same here in the third. He's going to face Robert Mackey, Keith Candell, and Miles Miller in the bottom of the third inning. Robert Mackey, a former member of the Jackfish, came over to the majors last week, I believe, might have been a couple of weeks ago. That one's on the outside corner, strike one. Mackey still looking for his first hit with the Majors. Into the windup, here's the 0-1. In there for strike two. One of the interesting things about Mackey, Chris, he's a two-way guy. He can pitch a little bit as well.
Yeah, and he really produced on the mound for Welland in 2021. Offensively, didn't do a whole lot, batted up 182, but on the mound, threw a .87 ERA, granted in a small sample size. But regardless, that's pretty impressive to be able to come in and do that while also having to worry about what you're able to do at the plate.
That one missed outside. 1-2 home to Mackey. Swing and a miss, strike three. And they'll say Gawker caught that one cleanly, so there's one gone here in the bottom of the third inning. That was our first real look at a breaking ball that sweeps away from a righty like that from Bradwell. That was a pretty nasty pitch.
Yeah, he got Mackey to swing at a pitch that wasn't really that close to the zone, and Bradwell's looked more comfortable the deeper that he's gone into this game, only in the third inning, obviously, but last inning, only threw 3 balls the entire inning. He was in the zone, being aggressive.
First pitch is going to miss for ball one to Keith Candell. Bradwell up at 36 pitches now through 2 1/3 innings. You mentioned the pitch count might be somewhere around 60.
That's what I heard before the game. But again, those things do change kind of as depending on stress pitches and how hard he has to work for his outs. Whether 30 pitches in 1 inning isn't the same as 30 pitches over 3 innings. So maybe if he continues to be efficient, they might be able to squeeze a little bit more out of him.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away. Here's the pitch from Bradwell, outside corner. Strike two. It's 1-2. Into the windup goes Bradwell, trying to set down Candell. He's able to fight that one off, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bradwell working quickly, gets a sign he wants from Cocker. Pitch on its way, swing and a miss from Keith Candell, strike 3. So Bradwell has struck out the first 2 batters of this inning for the Jackfish.
And there's that sweeper you were talking about. Looks like that might be his strikeout pitch. Again, we're learning about him as we go here as well, just like the viewers are. And it does look like that might be his most effective breaking pitch, especially to righties.
Miles Miller will step into the batter's box here for London. He's getting his second look at James Bradwell. We'll see if that changes anything for the Majors as they work through the order for the second time. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Miller 0 for 1 today. Grounded out to first base. Here's the 0-1 home. Miller chops that one to first base again. Porcelato plays it on the big hop. Flips to Bradwell at first, and the side is retired. 3 scoreless in a pitcher's duel up to this point at Labatt Park as we head to break between the Majors and Jackfish.
I want to ride this pony, but I suffer from low E.
Millions of people are suffering from low energy, commonly known as low E.
Low E has hurt my performance in the bedroom. I haven't been able to make the bed in years. Now there's hope.
Planet Fitness replaces low E with Big E, which keeps you energized and glowing all day. Simply join through the free PF app for only $15 a month.
Planet Fitness is a proud partner of your London Majors.
You're watching.
Here's the pitch. Joseph drills it to right center field. That ball's going back to the warning track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball. Starling Joseph, a 2-run home run.
London Majors Baseball on.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of MajorsTV.
watching.
You're watching London Majors Baseball.
London Majors Baseball. London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Here we go.
Believe me, you've never heard a talk show like this.
I'm sleeping with Joe Carter. By the way, Joe did not touch the ball.
Yeah, I have to say, like, your voice is fantastic.
Meet Smitty.
Listen, I'm the brains here.
And Mitty.
And I'm the good-looking funny one.
This is the Smitty Mitty Show.
Catch new episodes of the Smitty and Mitty Show wherever you get your podcasts.
You're watching London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Back here at Labatt Park for the fourth inning between the Majors and the Jackfish. No score up to this point. My name is Dylan Baker. Alongside me, Chris Lazar. Chris, both pitchers have been rolling up to this point here in this one.
Yeah, quick, efficient, pounding the zone. Not many walks, only the one walk to Ruiz, which again was a great at-bat by the hitter. That's really the key in this league, is just get ahead, throw strikes, stay aggressive with these hitters. It's going to be interesting to see the adjustments that each lineup makes second time through the order now.
Two guys with really good fastballs, but now that each lineup has seen the starter at least once, they're going to have to start mixing in the off-speed, and we've already seen some of that from the Jackfish starter in this one, and it's looked really good. The breaking ball there from Bradwell has been very solid so far.
Yeah, that sweeper that it seems that we discovered last inning, he threw it twice and he got 2 strikeouts with it,
Yeah.
So expect to see a lot more of that going forward.
Mateo Porcelato in for the second time. Here's the pitch. That one popped up. Foul territory. Giving it a look is Robert Mackey, as is Chris Ruiz, but that one into the final row, and oh my, there was a fan who didn't see it coming and almost got hit. Oh boy.
What's that advisement they give before the game? Watch out for flying
Bats,
objects.
balls, and other flying objects. Yep. I think occasionally they'll mix in small children in that other flying objects section. Just to give the fans a laugh before the game. Here's the pitch. Squaring around a bunt is Porcelato. Bunts that one foul. Behind in the count is Mateo Porcelato, 0-2. Boone already in the ball game. Has 2 strikeouts through 3 innings of work. Record a lot of outs via weak contact. That one's hit hard, though, in the air to right field. Reichstein going back on it. It's off the wall. It'll stick at the base. Porcelato around first. He will cruise into second with an easy stand-up double. That's 2 at-bats where Mateo Porcelato's hit the baseball hard all the way to the wall.
And that's really the first big mistake that we've seen from Owen Boone. Up 0-2 in the count, throws a fastball pretty much right down the middle, and Porcelato's a good hitter, and he's not going to miss that. He even showed in his first at-bat he's been on the fastball, so we'll see going forward if Boone switches up the approach against Porcelato.
It was a 2-strike count in his last at-bat as well, where he hit that ball to the wall in left field, so he's gone in both directions in the air. That one on a line, and he's able to get a double out of it. Gio Morello into the batter's box. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Morello flew out to left field in his first at-bat. Boone ready out there on the mound. Here's the pitch. That one will miss for ball 1. One ball, no strikes from Owen Boone. He's at 42 pitches through 3 innings. 29 of those offerings have been strikes. Boone peeks back at second base. Porcelato takes his lead. Pitch coming, popped foul. And it's 1-1.
It's been a bit of a rough go this season for Morello, only batting .246 for a guy who's usually sitting in the 300s, and you can see a little bit of that frustration, kind of chasing it a little bit right now. 1-0, swinging at a fastball that's not in the zone. Pretty frustrated with himself after that. We'll see if he makes the adjustment.
As a pitcher, if you know a guy's struggling, he's kind of chasing outside the strike zone, how do you capitalize on that?
You try to stay out of the strike zone, like you just said. You let him get himself out. A lot of times hitters will try to chase, and they'll try to force their way out of slumps rather than just letting it come naturally. And you can take advantage of that by just staying out of the zone.
Squaring around a bunt is Morello. That one will miss. Ruiz threatened to throw back to second base. It's 2-1. Jackfish, a team that do not fear small ball whatsoever. We saw a steal attempt from Luis Jean. Porchelato squared around to bunt before driving his double. Morello squares around to bunt there.
We haven't seen a whole lot of that from them this year. I think a lot of that is the product of they're winning games by 10. But as the games get closer, we'll see if they bring a little bit of that small ball in, and we've seen them at least try to lay it down a couple times.
That one misses inside to Morello, who's now in a hitter's count 3-1. Porchelato every pitch dancing off of second base. Boone comes set out there on the mound. Looks back at Porchelato. Here's the offering. Morello in the air, center field. Back on it, Miller. Getting set to throw. Makes the grab, comes up throwing. Porchelato will hold at second base. It was a strong throw from Miles Miller. And there's one gone here in the top of the fourth.
And that's just the kind of stretch it's been for Morello. You got a runner on second with nobody out in a 3-1 count. Perfect count to be able to at least move the runner over. And he gets a good piece of it. Unfortunately, hits it to a center fielder with a pretty good arm and not able to advance the runner.
Even with the speed Porchelato's got, he's unable to pick up 90 feet on that fly out as Steven Moretto will step into the batter's box. Moretto grounded out in his last trip to the plate. Moretto ready in the batter's box. Boone set out there on the mound. Peeks back at Porchelato at second. Here's the offering. Breaking ball. That one's going to be high, and it's 1-0. Boone comes set. Long hold. Gives a look to Porchelato. Comes home. That one's in there for a strike. One ball, one strike, one away. Jackfish, 2 hits in the ball game. Majors don't have any. Welland's got a runner in scoring position here. Candell creeps in from behind second base. Boone peeks back a couple of times. Here's the offering on its way. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. One and two to the Jackfish number 3 hitter. We saw both middle infielders creep in before that last offering to threaten a pickoff at second base. Candell well off the second base bag. Reyes Cruz a little bit closer. He breaks in a couple of steps, makes some noise, but creeps on back to his position. The offering from Boone. Pitch is a called strike 3 on Moretto. Chris Ruiz wanted to go back to second base with that throw and bobbled the baseball, but luckily for him and Boone, didn't lose in the strike call.
And that was a good example of Boone working backwards to Moretto, getting ahead with the breaking ball, getting to 2 strikes with the breaking ball, and then finding the outside corner with the fastball. And you can see Ruiz still working back there, trying to find any way to get an edge over the competition, looking to pick the guy off at second. Not a great transfer from him, but again, he's thinking about what he can do to help the team win.
He's being very aggressive so far in this ball game, both offensively in terms of running the bases and defensively behind the plate. Here's the pitch to James Smybert. That one will miss for ball 1.
And that's what you want to see from a guy coming in, right? A lot of times guys will come into a new environment and they'll be a little bit timid. They'll be worried that maybe, don't want to ruffle too many feathers or anything like that. But Ruiz clearly not afraid to play the game the way that he plays the game, whether it's aggressive behind the plate, stealing bags. He's doing it all.
Smybert calls time there. Had to wait a long time for Owen Boone to even come set. One and 0. Runner at second base. Boone peeks back. Pitch on its way. Cut on and fouled off. Looked like that one got a piece of Ruiz behind the dish. He'll walk that one out.
It really is such a thankless position, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys take a lot of abuse back there, and it's always just walk it off. You'll be fine. Man, I just took a 70-mile-an-hour pitch off the hand. It doesn't feel great. Give me a second.
Sometimes you get a foul ball square off the mask. Those ones aren't fun either. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away here in the top of the 4th inning. Pitch from Boone to Smybert. Took something off of that one and got a swing and miss, so it's 1-2.
Couple of not so great swings from Smybert on the off speed. He's looking for the hard stuff. We'll see if he makes that adjustment with 2 strikes or if Boone stays with the soft stuff and tries to get him out in front.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 away. Owen Boone ready on the mound, trying to strand Porcelato at second. That one's in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 away here in the top of the 4th inning. At Labatt Park, James Smybert in the batter's box has a runner in scoring position, trying to cash the first run of this ball game. The 2-2 home from Boone on the ground. That one just foul down the first base line.
And I thought that might be a good spot for a changeup, thinking along with the at-bat here. That 1-2 pitch was a breaking ball in the dirt. Generally, hitters, when a pitch isn't close, they think you don't have too much confidence in it, so you'll throw something else. He throws the fastball. Smybert's just early on it. This might be a good time to go to the changeup. He's been chasing the fastball all at bat.
2-2. We'll see if he comes with the changeup on this pitch. Boone sets on the mound, peeks back at Porcelato. Pitch on its way to Smybert. Ripped hard. That one is foul again.
Smybert got a good piece of that, but I think that was the changeup, and he was out in front of it. So credit to Smybert for being able to stay back long enough and get a piece of it.
Boy, a couple that have been hit hard down the first base line.
This is where you don't feel great as a pitcher. This guy's been in the box for about 8 pitches now. He's seen everything you have. You're just hoping he guesses wrong.
It's not like it's any old hitter either. This is James Smybert. He's a very talented batter in the batter's box, batting cleanup for a reason. The more pitches he sees, the more he gets used to what you're able to throw. Boone trying to strand the runner at second base. 2-2 on its way. Smybert crushes that one, but yet again a foul ball into the tree down the right field line.
And you mentioned it. He's a great hitter. The problem with facing the Welland Jackfish lineup is you got a bunch of great hitters behind him. You got Hogan Brown, who's hitting over 400. Sam Cocker, who's got a bunch of homers already this season. You can't really pitch around anybody because the guy behind is just as dangerous as the guy at the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Boone trying to finally record this third out. Smybert in the batter's box looks out. The offering in the air, center field. Miller going back on it. He's under it, and he's got it to retire the side. So Porcelato with a long double, but he gets stranded out there at second base. And Owen Boone, Chris, through 4 scoreless innings.
Yeah, and you saw it a little bit more there with the runner on second. He was not necessarily as aggressive in the zone, falling behind 3-1 to Morello through a first pitch ball to a couple other hitters in that lineup as well. And then Smybert giving him a really tough at-bat there to finish it off. The Welland Jackfish are seeing him a lot better than they did the first time through, but Boone is still doing a good job of finding a way to get outs. Smybert, again, out in front of that pitch a little bit. Got a good piece of it, but, again, he was able to get a not-so-comfortable swing from him. And, again, the London Majors are going to need a lot of that because they failed to get in the hit column yet.
Majors offense trying to get going against Bradwell here on the mound at 42 pitches. And at this point, with the lack of success that they've had in this ballgame, they're just hoping that 60-pitch cap is a hard one for the Welland Jackfish and that they'll take Bradwell out. But right now, I mean, he's rolling for Welland.
Yeah, and the interesting part that I've noticed right now is nobody's up in the bullpen for the Welland Jackfish. So if his pitch count is capped at 60, they're going to need to get somebody up quickly. But generally, if you're nearing the end of an outing, you're going to have somebody up in the bullpen, and the fact that they don't really tells me that they're going to let Bradwell go a little bit here.
He's been pretty efficient so far in the ball game. 17 pitches in his first inning, then 14 in the second, 11 in the third. So he's been making quick work of the majors for the most part.
Yeah, getting more and more comfortable every time through the order, every at-bat that he's going through here. So we'll see if he can continue to do that, or if the London Majors are going to make the adjustment offensively. He's got a tough start to the inning with Ruiz, who was pretty much the only guy in the lineup that saw him well last inning. So we'll see how he starts off, how he attacks Ruiz here to start the inning.
Chris Ruiz, followed by Byron Reichstein and Cleveland Brownlee. 2, 3, and 4 in this majors order. You mentioned it, Ruiz saw Bradwell pretty well and was able to work a walk in his first trip to the plate. It was a long at-bat as well. He was able to fight off some tough pitches. Ended up being an 8-pitch walk worked by Ruiz. Ruiz rocking the number 50 in his first game with the majors. Bradwell looks in for the sign from Sam Cocker. Into the windup he goes. Here's the first pitch to Ruiz. That one is in there for a called strike. Ruiz thinking maybe that could have been low, but talks it over with the home plate umpire. Here's the 0-1 home. That one skips in there, so it's 1-1. Get a look there at the Jackfish righty on our 519 Jersey Auction mobile camera. Giving you great looks throughout the ball game. Here's the 1-1. Ruiz takes that one in there for strike 2, so he's quickly behind on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 on its way from Bradwell. Ruiz takes that one low and away. It's 2-2.
And it looks like just now there's some movement in the Welland Jackfish bullpen, but just kind of getting his pre-work in. I'm not sure who that is. He's wearing a hoodie, but just getting this pre-work in, so that doesn't tell me that anyone's coming in anytime soon.
Nothing imminent in that Jackfish bullpen right now. The 2-2 home, up and in on Ruiz. Fastball like that, not a pitch you want to take, but it misses him, and it misses the strike zone as well, 3-2.
And Ruiz has worked a 3-2 count without taking the bat off his shoulders. And he, again, that just goes to show his professionalism, though. Both of those strikes he could have swung at, but he knew he wasn't going to do anything with them, so he just took them.
3-2 home to Ruiz. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Chased a fastball up above the strike zone, and there's one away here in the bottom of the 4th. Byron Reichstein digs into the batter's box for London, 0 for 1 on the day. As all the majors are, 0 for so far as a team. Here's the pitch to Reichstein. That one will miss for ball 1. The 1-0 on its way. Reichstein swings through that one. It's a ball and a strike.
Byron having a tough time catching up to that fastball. Struck out on it his first at-bat. Swung right through that one as well.
Into the wind-up, Bradwell. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball. That one misses, and it's 2 balls and a strike. See Luis Jean on your screen there. He's shaded up the middle against the power bat of Reichstein. 2-1 home. Up and away, 3-1. Bradwell potentially nearing the end of the line here on the mound. He's struggled to find the strike zone just a little bit more in this inning. Was well up above 50% strikes in previous innings. So far this inning, 40%. 4 of his 10 pitches have been strikes, and Reichstein laces that one into right field to put the majors into the hit column with the base hit. Good contact off the batter, Byron Reichstein there. The hardest hit ball we've seen so far tonight for the majors. With the runner on first base and 1 away, that'll bring up Cleveland Brownlee. Brownlee had a pretty long at-bat his last time up, but wound up finishing in a strikeout. So we'll look for a better result here. Bradwell ready. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball in there for a strike to Cleveland. It's 0-1. Peeking back over at first base is Bradwell. Here's the pitch. Brownlee lines that one straight back at the screen, and it's 0-2.
And Mike Mueller's now throwing in the bullpen, so the Jackfish do have somebody up. Mueller's had a heavy workload so far this season out of the bullpen, already appeared in 10 games, 13 innings pitched. We'll see how much longer they let Bradwell go, but you can see that he's starting to miss up in the zone, and generally that's a sign of a tired arm.
Mueller's worked in over 50% of the Jackfish games so far this season. Coming set, Bradwell on the mound. Here's the pitch. Brownlee chases that one low and away for strike 3. So 2 gone now in the bottom of the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Kane McGee. McGee 0 for 1 on the day, struck out looking in his last trip. Coming set, Bradwell. Here's the pitch. McGee lines that one straight back at the screen. Bad news for anybody who's a Raptors fan, Chris. Fred VanVleet is signed elsewhere.
Yeah, 3 years, $130 million with the Houston Rockets, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what the Raptors do. They don't have a point guard now, so
not the place you want to be if you're the Raptors. But NBA free agency going wild as it always does, and NHL free agency tomorrow. It's a busy time.
Now, I'm not from the London area, but it's kind of in the middle between Toronto and Detroit. Would you say people here are more fans of the Raptors or more fans of the Detroit Pistons? You kind of see a split.
I think, from everybody that I've talked to, I haven't met a Pistons fan here. So I think it's really primarily Raptors fans. You ask about baseball, there's maybe more Tigers fans than there are Pistons fans here in London for sure, because a lot of people grew up with the London Tigers being here playing at Labatt Park. So it's a bit more of a split when it comes to baseball, but in terms of basketball, it's heavily favoring the Raptors in this city. As that one misses, it's 2-1.
What about hockey? Red Wings, Leafs?
Hockey, it's usually Leafs.
Yep.
There's a lot of Leaf fans in this town.
I guess Windsor, it's probably a little bit more split.
Now I'm a Habs fan, so I'm just out of place here.
That's unfortunate.
Here's the 2-1 home, cut on and missed by Kane McGee. It's 2-2.
You're also on the wrong side of Toronto to be a Habs fan.
Yeah, no, you're right. There aren't very many of us around here. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kane McGee with 2 away. Byron Reichstein stands over at first base. He led off, he got a 1-out single. Here's the pitch, breaking ball. That one misses high to McGee, 3-2.
And I believe that was pitch number 60 for Bradwell. So he's right around that magic number. We'll see if this is his last batter. It looks like Mueller might be ready.
Nearing the end of the line is Bradwell. Full count on McGee. Starling Joseph waits on deck. Bradwell trying to finish off this 4th inning. Here's the pitch. McGee on the ground. Porcelato plays it on a big hop. He'll run it to the bag himself. And the side is retired. So if that's all for Bradwell, it was 4 quality innings. No score after 4 complete here at Labatt Park between the Majors and the Jackfish. You're watching London and Welland on MajorsTV.
I want to ride this pony, but I suffer from low E.
Millions of people are suffering from low energy, commonly known as low E.
Low E has hurt my performance in the bedroom. I haven't been able to make the bed in years.
Now there's hope. Planet Fitness replaces low E with Big E, which keeps you energized and glowing all day. Simply join through the free PF app for only $15 a month.
Planet Fitness is a proud partner of your London Majors.
You're watching.
Here's the pitch. Joseph drills it to right center field. That ball's going back to the warning track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball. Starling Joseph, a 2-run home run.
London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Here we go.
Believe me, you've never heard a talk show like this.
I'm sleeping with Joe Carter. By the way, Joe did not touch them all.
Yeah, I have to say, like, your voice is fantastic.
Meet Smitty.
Listen, I'm the brains here.
And Mitty.
And I'm the good-looking funny one.
This is the Smitty Mitty Show.
Catch new episodes of the Smitty and Mitty Show wherever you get your podcasts.
You're watching London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Back here at Labatt Park, another great shot at the city skyline here in downtown London. Majors and Jackfish, no score here through 4 complete innings at Labatt Park. James Bradwell and Owen Boone have been rolling on the mound. Boone back out there for his 5th inning. Chris Lazar made the observation before we went to break that Brian Essery shook the hand of James Bradwell, and so it looks like his night is complete. Hogan Brown will lead things off for Welland in the top of the 5th inning. It'll be Brown, Cocker, and Feuerstake. Boone gets the sign he wants, and in the windup he goes. Here's the first pitch to Brown. Squaring around to bunt is the Jackfish outfielder. That's in there for a strike. Oh, 1 from Boone to Hogan Brown. Gets the sign he wants from Ruiz into the windup. He works. Squaring around to bunt again is Brown, and that one's fouled off. So no balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the top of the 5th inning. Brown trying to make things happen by squaring around to bunt. Be shocked to see him do it here on 0-2. Majors righty looking for his 4th strikeout of the ball game as he works into the windup. That one's going to miss up and inside. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Brown.
I wonder if that's a part of the game plan to show bunt against Boone. That's 3 out of 6 guys, 2nd time through.
Here's the 1-2 breaking ball. Brown flares that one. Foul territory. It's Robert Mackey who's there to make the play, and there's one gone here in the top of the 5th inning. If it is the plan to square around against Owen Boone, it sure is an interesting one. Just trying to get some offense going, perhaps, as the Jackfish have 2 hits so far through 4 1/3 innings.
Well, it's hard to tell if it's a good strategy or not. They haven't got one in play yet. So we'll see if somebody can get one in play. If maybe they're trying to test Mackey at third base. I'm not sure exactly what the strategy is.
Well, you know Mackey's got a good arm. He's a pitcher as well, and he's pitched for the Jackfish in the past. That one misses upstairs for ball 1. Sam Cocker in the batter's box now, the number 6 hitter for the Jackfish. Their catcher. Into the windup goes Boone. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
Looked like a little cutter from Boone. Haven't seen that too much tonight.
Working more pitches in as the game progresses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boone into the windup. Here's the offering. Cocker swings through that one. It's 1-2. Chris, I noticed Sam Cocker is rocking quite the mustache so far this year. Were you a mustache guy? Are you a mustache guy?
I've never been a mustache guy.
Never been a mustache guy?
I'm a beard guy.
Yeah.
I won't shave my face because I look like I'm 12, but I definitely not a mustache guy.
1-2. Cocker's able to hold off, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes here with 1 away.
I don't think he had it last year, though, so I think it's
no, I think it was a beard
look.
last year for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
2-2 to Cocker.
Whatever it is, it's been working. 4 homers, 344, 19 RBIs.
Here's the pitch. Cocker in the air, center field. Miles Miller going back on that one, backpedaling a little bit. He's under it, and he's got it for the 2nd out of the top of the 5th inning.
Gave it a good swing, but it's really, really difficult to hit one out to center field here at Labatt Park.
It's not quite Chrissy Pitts or Jack Couch Park here at Labatt. It's deep to center, 4-0-2 to straightaway center field. As that'll bring up Caleb Feuerstake. And Chris, one of my buddies was here at a game last season when Starling Joseph hit a home run to dead center field. And it was one of the hardest hit balls I've seen. And my buddy, he brings that up every time we talk about the majors. He still mentions that home run. That one's scorched by Feuerstake down the right field line. Byron Reichstein giving chase. Feuerstake charging hard around second. He will stop right there. So it's a 2-out double for the Jackfish outfielder.
Yeah, good effort from McGee on that one. Just a little bit of a tough hop there at the end, and that ball was hit pretty hard. So was able to get it down the line, and with Feuerstake's speed, there was never a question whether or not that was going to be a double.
My question was he going to make it to third base? And I thought for a moment he was going to try it, but
yeah, he gave it a look. I think it was the fact that there's 2 outs, and you don't ever want to make the last out at third base. I think that was probably the reasoning. I think maybe leading off an inning he may have tested it, but 5th inning, 2 outs, Luis Jean coming up. You don't want to run into an out.
Luis Jean's got a runner in scoring position. That's Feuerstake's first hit back with the Jackfish this season, and it's a hard hit double down the first base line. Boone takes a peek back at second base. Here's the pitch to Jean. That's in the dirt. It skips away from Ruiz, and moving up to third base is Feuerstake.
Well, he ended up at third base anyway.
Exactly. So now the Jackfish have a runner 90 feet away from scoring here in the top of the 5th inning. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Chris. I think it's the first time the Jackfish have had a runner at third in this ball game.
It is the first time. I think it's the first time either team. No, I lied. London had a runner at first base in the first and at third base in the first inning. But yeah, first runner either team has had to third base since the bottom of the first.
1 ball, no strikes. That's a wild pitch charge to Owen Boone. Trying to get out of this unscathed. Crowd behind him against Luis Jean here. The pitch in the air. On the infield, Ruiz trying to find it. He's backing up, and he's got it. So Boone gets out of the top of the 5th unscathed. On a dangerous pop fly that Ruiz is able to come down with.
Yeah, Luis Jean just missed that, and you could see he was pretty frustrated after that swing that he missed it. Had a fastball fairly center cut, and he just popped it up, and Ruiz was able to make the play.
2 games going on in the Intercounty Baseball League today, including this one. Hamilton is in Brantford. Doesn't look like we've got anything on point streak for that game, so can't give you the update right now, but we'll take this second to look at the standings around the Intercounty Baseball League this season. The Welland Jackfish sitting in first place at 14-4, 8-2 in their last 10. Those two losses, have come in their last 3 games. Barrie in second place, Hamilton in third, Kitchener, Toronto, Guelph, and then the London Majors sit in 7th place. Brantford Red Sox are in 8th at 2-16. Chris, a tight top 5 so far this season in the IBL.
Yeah, it's really there's been a lot of parity in the league, which is really nice to see. Last year, London, there was a lot of parity right at the top 3, but it looks like there's more teams involved in that race right now. You know, Toronto down at 5, but they're just as good as any of those teams above them, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out, and with the roster deadline still a month away, there's still a lot of room for teams to improve.
You know what the craziest thing is to me? That a lot of these teams have already played 18 games this season. I mean, we're almost done the year. Like, we're halfway through the season right now, and we get an update from Brantford. It's 3-0 Cardinals in the top of the 4th inning. Their live stream is going on YouTube, but no point streak updates right now.
Yeah, and you were mentioning how everybody's played so many games already. It's been a very rare summer where there haven't been a lot of rainouts.
Yeah.
I think the only real rainouts that have happened so far are the Kitchener-Barrie games, which
yeah.
The baseball gods just don't want those two teams to play against each other, apparently. So, and with the way Barrie's playing right now, I think they're doing Kitchener a bit of a favor. So,
yeah, it's been an above-average stretch for Barrie, you could say.
Yeah, well, I've heard about that one.
I had to bring it up, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fair. I did say it, and at the time it was true, and now it's no longer true. So it's tough when you call a team average and then they don't lose for 3 weeks.
Barrie has been really hot as of late. Chris, of course, made that comment in the power rankings, which come out every week. I'm a big fan of the power rankings. I make sure I'm reading every single one, and it's been a hit around the league. A lot of people are reading those things.
Yeah, and I think that was the whole point, was to try to get people talking and clearly the players read it, and as Barry manager said, it's the managers read it too. So it is definitely something that I've been really proud of this year, and I'm really glad that people have appreciated it, and that's why we started the podcast as well. Try to give people more ways to consume IBL content, as I feel that there haven't been enough ways in the past. So it's really cool to see.
The more content, the better. It just helps grow the league, and that's what you're doing with the podcast and the power rankings. We've seen some more profiles on the IBL website, some more articles there, and it's been really good.
Yeah, and shout out to Carlos Verde, I believe is his name.
Yep.
And Patrick Melbourne, who have been also great putting out content. Neil Srivastava,
yeah.
You got it right. He pumps out the Around the IBL columns all the time too.
I love the Around the IBL columns. Neil does a great job with those.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of what everybody has been doing so far this year. It's been great.
New arm for the Welland Jackfish. That is Mike Mueller into the ball game. First pitch offering to Starling Joseph is a breaking ball that misses. Correction, I don't know if that's Mueller here. Looks like they've pulled a fast one on us here. Here's the pitch. That one is in the dirt, and it's 2-0. I believe that's Terre Lepard into the contest. He's behind Starling Joseph 2-0.
Yeah, Taylor Lepard hasn't appeared in too many games this season, only 3 appearances with a 13.5 ERA, but the ERA does get skewed when guys have only appeared in 3 games and have thrown only 5 1/3 innings. Lots of strikeouts, though, 7 punch-outs in 5 1/3 innings.
2-0 home. Joseph, ooh.
It's an unfortunate foul ball.
It sure was. Fouled straight back to the screen. Joseph
he knows
taking his time, taking his time to get back up. That one came right up and in on him. Ended up being a check swing and fouled it to the screen. Joseph dirty all the way up to his shoulders.
Looks like this is Lepard's second appearance only since June 4th, so he hasn't pitched much this month.
Here's the pitch. Joseph right on that one, fouled it straight back, and it's 2-2.
He just missed that one.
Back to my story from last inning. Starling Joseph at the plate now. He hit a ball so hard to dead center field, and that's what it takes to get one out to dead center. It was an absolute laser. It was the hardest hit ball I've seen at this ballpark in my time covering the IBL. Just an unbelievable swing, but it's so difficult to hit one out to center field at Labatt Park.
I would say it's probably the most difficult center field to hit a ball out in. I think Hamilton is also pretty deep out there in center, but I've seen a few guys go deep there. I have not seen many guys hit home runs here in Labatt Park to straightaway center.
And that one was like perfect center cut. It was crazy from Starling Joseph. It's a full count to him right here. Nobody out in the bottom of the 5th inning. Joseph leading things off. He'll be followed by Tommy Reyes-Cruz and Robert Mackey. Lepard ready. Here's the pitch. That one's up and into Joseph, so he'll take ball 4 and reach first base with a leadoff walk. Majors have a base runner.
Seeing Lepard in the spot also kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the Welland Jackfish bullpen right at the start of the game. They're throwing a guy out here right now in a 0-0 game who's only thrown 5 1/3 innings, doesn't really have the best numbers, and has only pitched once previously since June 4th. So, again, their bullpen very depleted right now.
Here's the pitch. Joseph running. Reyes-Cruz squares. Here's a throw from Cocker. It's high. It gets away from Gene. Joseph gets up and then trips, and that might be a blessing in disguise because I don't think he would have made it to third base had he gone all the way.
Oh, there's no chance he was getting to third base on that one. That ball barely got away from Luis Gene.
Joseph, a very aggressive base runner, and right there, the aggressiveness nearly came back to bite him, but he tripped and fell, which forced him to stay at second base. Tommy Reyes-Cruz 0 for 1 on the evening.
Going back to my point about the Welland depleted bullpen, I will say this, though. I don't think London is going to feel bad for them at all because London's been dealing with that all season.
Squaring around a bunt again as Reyes-Cruz gets this one down to third base. It's a beautiful sacrifice bunt there from Tommy Reyes-Cruz, advancing Starling Joseph to third, and the Majors have a runner 90 feet away here with one gone.
And it feels like that type of ball game, right? It feels like you score 1 or 2 runs, you're going to win this game. So Roop obviously understanding that, puts the bunt sign on. They advance the runner to third base. Now all you need is a ball to the outfield to score a run.
Majors manager Roop Chanadat told me before the game, get the scorebook handy because there will be some changes throughout the ball game tonight, and we've got our first one offensively as Drew Lawrence is into the ball game to pinch hit for Robert Mackey. Lawrence has had a stellar season, particularly defensively for the Majors. He's had more outfield assists this year than I think I've seen, we saw all of last year for the Majors. Here's the pitch. That one's in there for a strike. Byron Reichstein's always good for several outfield assists. He's got a cannon of an arm. But Drew Lawrence showing off his arm so far this year. No balls, 1 strike the count. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball. Lawrence waves at that one, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, and this is a spot where Lawrence just has to try to do more. Less is more in this spot for him. He's just got to get a ball past the drawn-in infield.
Lepard trying to retire Lawrence. Took a fastball right down Broadway and then waved at the breaking ball. On deck is Keith Candell. Here's the 0-2. Whoa, that one gets away behind the head of Lawrence with a fastball there, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and we mentioned the strikeouts with Lepard. What we didn't mention is the walks. That walk that he issued to Joseph was his 4th walk in just under 6 innings. So definitely controlled, not a strong suit of Lepard, and you saw it there with that pitch.
1-2 on its way, breaking ball. Lawrence in the air to right field. Tagging from third base is Joseph. Going back on it, Hogan Brown. He'll spin and fire to the plate. Joseph upstanding. And the Majors take the lead here in the bottom of the 5th on a sacrifice fly for Drew Lawrence.
And that's an outstanding job by Drew Lawrence there. He gets a curveball up in the zone, just takes it to the outfield, not trying to do too much, not trying to hit the ball out of the yard or anything. Just gets it to the outfield, knows he's got a fast runner at third base, does enough to take the lead.
Get a look at Drew Lawrence getting some high fives from his teammates on our 519 Jersey Auction mobile camera. We've seen lots of high fives this inning. The whole dugout was out there for Reyes Cruz after the sacrifice bunt, and they all get back up again for Drew Lawrence after the sacrifice fly. Majors manufacturing some runs here in this inning. Still only 1 hit on the scoreboard as that one's in the strike zone to Keith Candell for strike 1. Candell on the ground to shortstop. Jean scoops that one up. Strong throw to first base is in time to get the Majors shortstop, and that'll do it for the 5th inning here at Labatt Park. Majors get on the scoreboard, though. They lead 1-0 after 5.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of MajorsTV.
You're watching London Majors Baseball.
London Majors Baseball. London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Welcome back to Labatt Park for the 6th inning between the Majors and the Jackfish. It is the dizzy bat race at field level at Labatt Park right now. It's finally go time. Oh boy, we've got a quick leader. Tight race though, and we've got our winner. So we head to the top of the 6th inning. A defensive substitution for the Majors. Drew Lawrence will not stay in this ball game after he did his job, as there's a new third baseman.
Yeah, Daniel Battle from London, Ontario. He has replaced Drew Lawrence in the lineup. Lawrence more of an outfielder, and they need a guy to go play third base, so that's why Battle's in the ball game.
Dan Patel into the game. He has seen some action over at third base this season, batting .293. dealing with a bit of a nagging injury, so we'll see if he comes up to the plate to hit. What I've been told is Patel's good to play the field right now, but hitting is where things get a little more painful. So we'll see if he gets an at-bat for Roop Chanadad's squad or not.
And you did say keep the scorebook out, so I'm sure that we're not done seeing substitutions tonight.
On the mound, though, so far, it's been Owen Boone's game for the Majors. He's thrown 70 pitches through 5 innings, 5 scoreless innings, I should mention. 1-0 Majors. Owen Boone ready out there on the mound to face Tyler Dupuis. It'll be 9-1-2 for Welland. Pitch is going to miss high for ball 1. Dupuis, Porcelato, and Morello. Porcelato has squared up Boone both times he's come to the plate. Boone into the windup. Here's the offering. Fouled straight back to the screen. You see a fan there with a radar gun, measuring the pitches, talking to some fans.
That actually looks like Welland Jackfish general manager Jason McKay.
Interesting. We weren't sure who it was up here in the press box. We're talking about it between innings.
Yeah, he's been out there with the radar gun every once in a while, trying to kind of get a gauge on where everybody's at. Mainly on his guys. I know he likes to pull it out when Davey Mendez is at the plate, because who doesn't like to pull out the radar gun when Davey Mendez is on the mound, rather. And Bradwell was throwing pretty hard tonight, so I'm sure he wanted to see where he was at. And as we mentioned with Owen Boone, his velo's up, so I'm sure McKay is interested in that as well.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, blocked by Ruiz. It's 2-2.
It looks like he might be there with former Jackfish Andrew Mercier.
Wow.
He was a long-time player in the IBL all the way back to when they were in Burlington.
Mercier, a London guy. Played in Burlington, played in Welland.
And that would add up. That would explain why they're here.
Everything's clicking now.
Yep.
It's all making sense. Here's the 2-2 home. In there, called, strike 3. Owen Boone gets Tyler Dupuis looking, and there's one gone here in the top of the 6th inning.
Looking into the Welland bullpen, it looks like Casey Howard is up in the bullpen. He's throwing with intent, so I would assume that he's probably going to see the bottom of the 6th inning for the Welland Jackfish.
Casey Howard, another guy who's been around the league for a little while.
Yeah, he goes all the way back to the Burlington days as well. There's a few guys on the Welland Jackfish that go back to those days in Burlington. Chris Boato, one of them. Rich Corrente as well. We haven't seen him this year. He's been battling a bit of an injury.
Breaking ball from Owen Boone. That one misses high and away to Porcelato. IBL's a league with a fair amount of turnover, but you know what? There are some guys that stick it out, even through a move from Burlington to Welland. There are quite a few faces that have been on this Jackfish roster for a long time.
I think you see that with a lot of the best teams, right? You see a lot of the guys who've been around for a while.
That one will find its way through the hole, so Porcelato is aboard again. He's 2 for 3 on the day against Owen Boone. 2 for 3 in a game where many of his teammates have not found success at the plate. Porcelato has.
Yeah, he has half their team's hits.
It's true. Gio Morello steps into the batter's box. He's 0 for 2.
We'll see if they try to get creative on offense here. Obviously, offense has been tough to come by against Boone, who's been really good tonight. We'll see if maybe Porcelato takes off or if they try a little hit and run. Again, Morello also struggling to get a lot of offense going, but we'll see if they just simplify it and just tell him to put the ball in play on a hit and run.
Dan Patel thinking potentially a bunt. He's in just a little bit off the third base bag. No runner, no square. It's a called strike 1. 0-1. Boone looks over at first base as Morello gets set in the batter's box. Comes set out there on the mound. Quick throw over to first base, not in time. Boone thinking along the same lines we are up here. The Jackfish might look to employ some small ball to get on the scoreboard.
Boone nearing 80 pitches, but last week against Hamilton, he was all the way up to 115, so I don't think he's near the end of the line at all.
Another throw over. Back with the dive again is Porcelato. Gone are the days in the IBL where you'd see an import arm throw 140 pitches. You don't see that too often anymore, as teams more worried about the pitch count for guys as that one misses up and away from Owen Boone.
No, and you'll see a little bit of it in the playoffs if a guy's going really well. I remember one year when I pitched against Kitchener, I threw a complete game. I was 149 pitches.
Holy smokes.
Yomar Concepcion for Guelph, I remember in a elimination game, he threw, I think, like 170 pitches or something. It was insane. But, yeah, you do not see that in the regular season anymore.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away. Fake jump off of first, that one outside. 2-1.
He got such a good jump, he didn't even trust it. He thought he went so early, and he did. He was gone before Boone picked up his leg, but if he keeps going, that base is his easily.
Absolutely. And he's frustrated. You can see the frustration over at first base there. Portulato, he's like, I should have kept going. 0-1. Portulato dancing off again, not running this time. That one finds the outside corner, and it's 2-2.
And they tell base runners that a lot. If you start going, just go.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get such a good jump, and you can't even believe that you got such a good jump, so you just shut it down.
We were worried Boone's maybe going to step off and throw over. And he did not. I don't think he was looking anywhere near Portulato there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. We'll see if they put him in motion here on 2-2. Boone thinking they might. He'll throw over. Back to the pitch count conversation for a quick second. The most I've ever seen, I went back in the archives. I think there was a game in 2015 or 2016 where a pitcher for Toronto threw 181.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the most I've been able to find.
Wow.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Owen Boone ready out there on the mound. Running from first is Portulato. Great jump, swing and a miss. The throw from Ruiz is high. It's into center field. Charging hard is Miller. Portulato will be on his way to third. Miller bobbles that baseball. So it's the second out of the inning on the strikeout of Gio Morello. Portulato steals second base and will move up to third on an error from Chris Ruiz. Steven Moretto will dig into the batter's box. Runner over at third base, 2 gone. Jackfish have a runner at third with 2 away for the second consecutive inning. They're starting to get things going against Owen Boone, but have yet to be able to push one across. Trying to respond to the Majors getting a run in the bottom of the 5th inning. Boone set out there on the mound. Kicks and comes home. That one will miss. It's ball 1.
Yeah, so far tonight, Welland has yet to get 2 base runners on in the same inning, and that remains the case so far here in the 6th inning. If they're able to change that, odds are this game's going to be tied.
Boone looks in for the sign from Chris Ruiz. Comes set out there on the rubber. 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch. Just off the plate, it's 2-0.
Boone approaching Moretto really carefully here with those first 2 pitches. Down 2-0. I don't expect him to give in here. He's got a couple of free bases to work with.
2 balls, no strikes. Pitch on its way to Moretto. Swing and a miss. Big hack. Hard fastball, and it's 2-1.
And Boone reared back for that one. He said, here's my best fastball. I'll try to hit it, and Moretto was late on it.
Moretto 0 for 2 today. Ground out and a strikeout looking. Here is the 2-1 home, up and inside, and it clipped him, says the home plate umpire, Justin Van Horn. So Steven Moretto is on at first base with 2 away after the hit by pitch.
Moretto looked a little bit surprised that he was given first base as well.
Majors manager Roop Chanadad is going to head out to the mound here. No action in the Majors bullpen, so not a pitching change, just Roop trying to add on to this conversation between Chris Ruiz and Owen Boone. And now Keith Candell, Tommy Reyes-Cruz, Kane McGee will all make their way into the mound as well.
Really interested to see how they attack Smyber, and I'm sure that's probably what they're talking about here. They're also probably talking about a first and third play. The Welland Jackfish like to do some creative things on the bases, and so I'm wondering if they're talking about what happens if the runner at first takes off. Are we going to throw through? Are we going to have a guy cut it off? Are we going to throw to third base? Or are we just not going to throw it at all? That's probably what that conversation was about.
Normally the catcher would call that play, but Chris Ruiz playing his first game with the Majors. I don't think he's practiced with the team yet, so Not 100% sure of the signs, not 100% sure of the design plays here. So Roop Chanadat trying to get everybody on the same page here before the Jackfish might try to run.
And it's such an important part of the game as well, right? You got the tying run at third base in the 6th inning. You want to make sure that everything is buttoned down and you know exactly what everybody's supposed to be doing.
Owen Boone set out there on the mound. Here's the pitch to James Smybert. Breaking ball. That one skips away from Ruiz. It's ball 1. No movement on the base paths. Smybert ready in the batter's box. Boone looks in on the mound, peeks over at first base. Comes set. Moretto not running. On the ground, and that one is just foul down the first baseline.
I don't really expect Welland, to take off here. I think if you put Moretto on second base and now you got a base open, I think they would just walk Smybert to face Hogan Brown, who, while Hogan Brown's had a good season, he's won for his last 13, and James Smibert's been seeing the ball well all night. So I don't really see them taking the bat out of his hands by sending Moretto, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Boone up at 88 pitches. Most he's thrown an inning so far tonight is 20. He's thrown 18 so far in this frame. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moretto gets his lead off of first base, not running. Smybert pops that one. That one will get out of play as well towards the parking lot. Chris, I'm not sure where you parked. You got here later than I did, but hopefully you got a spot far enough from play here that you're not in danger of any foul balls hitting the car.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about that, and I really wish you hadn't said anything because now I'm worried that that might have been my car.
When I get here, I take the furthest spot I can find just to make sure that I'm not in danger of getting hit.
See, I'm lazy. I don't like to walk.
1 and 2. 2 away. Runners on the corners for the Jackfish trying to tie this ball game up. The pitch from Owen Boone to James Smybert hits him. So back-to-back hit batters for Owen Boone. Smybert takes that one a little cleaner than Moretto did, as it just clipped Moretto. That one got Smybert flush on the elbow. He's trying to shake that one out over at first base. But back-to-back hit batters have the bases loaded with 2 gone.
And with Boone's pitch count getting up there, a lot of times you won't necessarily see the velo dip, but you will see the command dip. And you've seen Owen Boone, not the greatest command in this inning. Now, maybe that's because he's tired, or maybe it's just because he's been great for 6 innings and everybody's going to have 1 inning where they're a little bit off. But going out of the windup here, we'll see if Brown can break out of his 1 for 13 skid.
Action in the Majors bullpen as time gets called here. Boone and Ruiz want to talk things over. That is Alex Springer loosening up. He's a junior player for the Majors. If he gets called upon this inning, that's going to be in a big spot.
And that goes to show the state of the London Majors bullpen right now, right? They don't want to use any of their big arms in the 6th inning. They want to save those for later in the game. And I'm sure Roop right now is really hoping that Owen Boone's able to get through this inning.
Here's the pitch from Boone. Breaking ball, swing, and a miss from Hogan Brown.
Brown, a really good fastball hitter, starts him off with a curveball there. We'll see if he stays soft or if he goes back to the hard stuff.
0-1, 2 away. Bases loaded. 1-0 Majors lead. Here's the pitch from Boone to Brown. That one misses. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Brown, as mentioned throughout the broadcast, came into the ballgame hitting over 400 on the year. Boone into the windup. Here's the pitch, breaking ball. That one misses high.
Interesting thing I just noticed about Ruiz is even with a runner on second base, he's only giving 1 sign. And that might have something to do with the fact that he's new here. The problem with that is if the Welland Jackfish figure that out and they have a way of relaying that, there's a chance that Moretto might be giving Hogan Brown the pitch.
2-1 count. Here's the pitch from Boone. Brown fouls that one off into the crowd. A nice catch by a fan who then gave it to a youngster roaming about. Always love to see that at the ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. The Majors lead by just a run. They scored it in the bottom of the 5th inning. Welland trying to answer back. They're loaded for Hogan Brown. Boone gets the sign he wants from Ruiz. Digs in the glove to get the grip. Into the windup. Here's the 2-2 home. Lined foul again. That one. Oh my, that was a great catch. That one was hit hard, and that fan right there stood up, caught it nonchalantly, and just handed it over. He's proud of himself.
We've seen both sides of that tonight, right? We've seen somebody not paying attention and almost get hit, and we've seen a highlight reel play.
Wow, that was impressive. That one was pretty hard off the bat.
I always think it's crazy when fans just reach out their bare hands on line drives like that. Do you know how much that hurts?
Hurts a lot.
It doesn't feel good.
2-2, 2 out. Bases loaded. We'll do it again. Owen Boone into the windup, trying to set down Hogan Brown. Swing and a miss. Boone gets the strikeout to escape the jam, and the Majors maintain their 1-0 lead.
That's a huge pitch from Owen Boone there. You can see that he was setting him up with the soft stuff and finished him off with a fastball up there.
Majors head back on the bats looking for some insurance. If you've got questions about insurance, we've got our insurance tip of the game from our insurance guy, Eric Gagne.
Today, we thought we'd share an insurance tip on ways to get insurance for your home, auto, or business. You could simply go online with some companies and do online quoting, and then they set you up with a call center agent. Second one is through an insurance broker who may have access to 10 or 15 companies to send out your information for quotes. And the third one is an insurance agent. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're just looking for no frills, you may be looking just to do an online thing. If you're looking for a more personable service, people to take care of you, may reach out to a broker or an insurance agent. But there's multiple ways to get insurance for your home, auto, or your business. I'm Eric Gagne with our insurance guy. Now back to you guys in the booth.
Back here at Labatt Park, the Majors and Jackfish on this Friday night. London leading 1-0. Pretty solid crowd on hand to take this one in, Chris.
Yeah, and that's not super surprising with the holiday long weekend, but with the game tomorrow night, you would think that a lot of people would be waiting to go to that one. It appears that I'm sure we'll see a lot of these same faces tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon here in London. And Canada Day is always quite the event here at Labatt Park.
It sure is, because after the ball game, you got about an hour to hang out with players at field level, get some autographs, talk some things over, and then there's the fireworks. And you can park yourself on the field and watch the fireworks get launched from Harris Park right by the river. It's a real sight to behold. They do a great job. They close down the bridge on Riverside Drive to make sure everybody's safe, and it's a really great show on Canada Day here in downtown London.
And it's one of the best scenes. I think it's the best backdrop in the IBL is Labatt Park's backdrop. So it's going to be a good one tomorrow night. Do they have Canada Day jerseys this year?
That's a good question, because I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard some people say yes. I've heard some people say no. So we'll find out tomorrow.
I can't wait to see what Farrington's glove looks like. He's always got the gloves for the special occasions.
He sure does. I wonder if he breaks out a red and white one tomorrow night.
Maybe with red and white cleats.
Oh boy!
Are those in there too?
Don't give him any ideas here, Chris. He might pull that out. We've got a new arm for the Welland Jackfish here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Casey Howard takes over.
Yeah, Casey Howard, 2.16 ERA this season, 8 1/3 innings and 7 appearances. He's had a pretty good season so far. Last worked a week ago against Barrie on Saturday through 2 innings, only gave up 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts on a night when not many Welland Jackfish pitchers were having success against that Barrie lineup. So definitely one of their more reliable arms in the bullpen. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go a couple of innings here tonight.
He'll have to deal with the top of the Majors order. It'll be Miles Miller, Chris Ruiz, and Byron Reichstein. Here is the pitch. Miller lines that one into center field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Got it off the end of the bat, but it'll drop in and do the trick nonetheless. So the Majors have a base runner here. We mentioned Fred Van Vliet left the Raptors earlier in the ball game. Dennis Schroeder signing with Toronto.
Yeah, 2 years, $26 million. Feels like we're an NBA free agency show just as much as we are a London Majors show.
I think we have to be, right? It's a busy time right now around the sports world.
Yeah, so if you need your free agency updates, don't worry about it. We've got Woj's tweets turned on. So.
Stay locked on this game, and we'll give you the updates you need to hear. We don't want you to miss a moment here at Labatt Park. As Chris Ruiz digs into the batter's box, Miles Miller stands over at first base. Ruiz looking for his first hit in a Majors uniform, squares around a bunt, pulls back as that one misses low and away.
Showed real early there, so I'm assuming it's probably a sacrifice bunt, just trying to get the runner into scoring position.
Well, we saw it work for the Majors last inning. They were able to manufacture getting the runner over to third base with a bunt and then scoring on a sacrifice fly. Trying to do the same thing here. Ruiz squares early yet again, pulls back yet again. That's 2 in a row that have missed outside from Howard.
I wonder if they take it off here now. 2-0 count. Ruiz seems like a really smart hitter. I'm sure he's probably not going to get himself out on a 2-0 pitch, so wonder if they're going to let him swing here.
2 balls, no strikes. Miller, pretty solid lead over at first base. We'll see if he's on the move. He's running. Pitch on its way. Ruiz on the ground. Going to be a tough play for Gene. Went to second. Ranges back. Here's the throw. It's in time to get Ruiz, and there's one gone in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Looked like it might have been a hit and run there, and that's unfortunate. I don't think Ruiz wanted to swing at that pitch. It was an outside fastball that he pulled on the ground, and Miller had a great jump. I think he probably has that bag stolen. Ruiz takes that pitch. He's still in a hitter's count.
Runner in scoring position here for Byron Reichstein. Reichstein has 1 of 2 hits for the Majors. The second hit came off the bat of Miles Miller just now on a bloop to center field. He singled on a line drive to right in his last trip. Howard comes set. Miller in scoring position. Pitch to Reichstein on its way. Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
Reichstein's had a hard time getting to that outside fastball all day. The one hit he had was on a fastball middle in on a 3-1 count where he was able to cheat to it.
No balls, 1 strike. 1 away here. Pitch coming to Reichstein in the air. Right field and deep. Going back on it, Morello to the warning track, looking up. That ball is gone. Byron Reichstein, a 2-run home run. And with the strength of that blast, the Majors have taken a 3-0 lead here in the ball game.
And going back to what I just talked about with the fastball, I'm not entirely sure about that pitch selection. He was just late on the fastball, threw him a breaking ball, and it hung, and Byron made no mistake on that pitch.
You see Byron go in for the celebration line on our 519 Jersey Auction mobile camera. A huge blast off the bat of Byron Reichstein, and that puts the Majors up 3-0. Some good insurance for them with Owen Boone rolling right now on the mound.
Was that an ode to the insurance ad that we just did?
You know what? I think so. I love all those insurance ads, and that's going to mark the end of the ball game here for Casey Howard. So he faces 3 batters, and that'll be all for him in this one. We'll take a quick break and be right back with a pitching change at Labatt Park.
Here we go.
Believe me, you've never heard a talk show like this.
I'm sleeping with Joe Carter. By the way, Joe did not touch the ball.
Yeah, I have to say, like, your voice is fantastic.
Meet Smitty.
Listen, I'm the brains here.
And Mitty.
And I'm the good-looking funny one.
This is the Smitty Mitty Show.
Catch new episodes of the Smitty and Mitty Show wherever you get your podcasts.
You're watching London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Back at Labatt Park, new arm for the Welland Jackfish. It is Mike Mueller.
Yeah, Mike Mueller, as we mentioned earlier, we kind of gave a scouting report a little bit prematurely, but we'll do it again. 10 games pitched. He's pitched in over half of Welland's games now. I think this is game number 19 for them, and it'll be appearance number 11. So he's been a workhorse for them in the bullpen. Throws a lot of strikes, only 4 walks in 13 2/3 innings to go along with 14 strikeouts and only 15 hits allowed. So he's had a pretty good start to the season. We'll see if he's able to keep things at 3 in a game where Owen Boone has been dominant, and I don't think Welland's going to be scoring a ton more runs. They need to keep this score right here.
Mueller will have to face Cleveland Brownlee right off the bat. As he finishes his warm-up pitches, we'd like to give a couple of shout-outs here. A shout-out to wife of official scorer Dave Woody, Gabrielle Woody, who's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to Gabrielle. And we'd also like to shout out a lot of the local players who were selected in this year's National Hockey League draft. Easton Cowan, first-round pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs from Mount Bridges, Ontario, just outside of London, plays for his hometown London Knights. Of course, Denver Barkey also selected from the Knights. Oliver Bonk, both to the Flyers. Jacob Julian, a London boy, plays for the Knights as well, selected to the Winnipeg Jets. And then Dylan Rubrick, selected later on in the draft as well, another London guy. So congratulations to all the local products who were selected in this year's National Hockey League draft. As Cleveland Brownlee steps into the batter's box and pops the first pitch he sees high in the air. Charging hard is Smybert from third base. He will come up with this one and record the second out in the bottom of the sixth.
Man, the London Knights are just an NHL prospect factory, aren't they?
They sure
Feels
are.
like every year 7-8 guys get drafted from that team.
It's really impressive what they've been able to do, and it always gives the fans in London something to cheer for. You know that Knights team's going to be pretty solid, and you know that they're going to have some NHL prospects, and that's the case once again here this year. 4 draftees in this year's draft.
Did you watch a lot of Easton Cowan this winter?
I did, and I watched even more of him the year before when he was in Kamoka with the Kings and in Junior B there. I had the chance to call the Kings games all winter long. He is a talented player. That one misses for ball 1.
What's his player comp? Give us your NHL prospect scouting report.
Oh man, I'm not good at this. He said his favorite player growing up was Nazem Kadri, and you can kind of see that same kind of toughness in him as that one misses off the plate to McGee. It's 2-0. He's not afraid to go into the dirty areas. He's going to work really, really hard for you. The best part of his game, the best aspect of his game is the forechecking. He's a responsible player, really high hockey IQ, kind of Mitch Marner-like in that sense, as that one misses in the dirt. It's 3-0 to Kane McGee. He's very, very smart when he's on the ice. He will make the right pass. We saw this season for the Knights. I'm giving you a pretty detailed scouting report here.
Yeah, you are.
Didn't expect to be doing this.
No, keep going.
But at the beginning of the year, he didn't play many minutes for the Knights, but Dale Hunter quickly learned that he could trust Cowan in every situation. So if you're a Leafs fan, you're getting a smart player here and a really hard-working guy as Mueller finds the strike zone on McGee, and it's 3-1.
Hopefully he's Nazem Kadri, but without the suspensions in the playoffs, right?
Another thing about Easton Cowan, just a great guy overall. He's very involved in the community. That one will miss for ball 4 to Kane McGee. So
Did you not do an interview with him?
I did.
Yeah,
right
I saw
before
that
the
was
draft
posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty cool.
It was. Yeah, it was really awesome. Big thanks to Easton once again for doing that interview, and got picked by the Leafs in the first round. Not too bad. Got picked by his hometown team in the OHL draft and his hometown team in the NHL draft as well.
It's every kid's dream, isn't it?
Exactly.
Except yours, because you're a Habs fan.
That's true, and I'm also a terrible hockey player. Pinch runner for Kane McGee. It's Brad Verhoeven into the ball game. He will take over at first base. Verhoeven wearing number 51. One of the catchers on this Majors squad, a junior player as well with the Tomcats. Last time the Majors were at Labatt Park, Brad Verhoeven had to drive from Vaughan to London on a Sunday morning on Father's Day because Eduardo De Olio was not going to be able to catch.
Oh, no.
So the St. Thomas Tomcats had a tournament up in Vaughan, and Brad Verhoeven had to make that drive that morning.
Yikes.
Breaking ball, that's in there for a strike. It's 0-1.
It's an away game. And then some.
Yeah. 0-1. Starling Joseph in the batter's box. Quick throw over to check on Verhoeven. He's back with a dive.
I can't even imagine what that drive was like. I came in from Mississauga, which is closer than Vaughan, and it took me 2.5 hours to get here.
Yeah. Well, he was driving on a Sunday morning. You were driving.
I was driving Friday afternoon, right before Canada Day. It's not ideal timing.
No, not at all, as that one's fouled straight back by Joseph. No balls and 2 strikes the count here in the bottom of the 6th. Oh, 2 out. Mueller set out there on the mound. Verhoeven takes his lead off of first. Breaking ball. Joseph rips that one into the left field. Over the head of Luis Jean, and there are 2 base runners now for the Majors with 2 away.
It's a good job by Starling to stay back on that pitch. just flick it out into left field.
Stayed right on that one. Had to reach a little bit, but is able to get it into left field. Muscled that one into the outfield, and the Majors have 2 on with 2 away. Verhoeven at second, Joseph at first. 2 guys who run pretty well, and Tommy Reyes Cruz in the batter's box. Reyes Cruz waves the bat in the air and now calms it down as he gets set for the offering from Mueller. That's in the dirt. Cocker keeps it close. Doesn't allow the runners to move up. It's 1-0. One ball, no strikes. 2 away. Mueller peeks back at second a couple of times. Pitch coming. Reyes Cruz fouls that one off. And it's 1-1.
Doesn't look like anyone is actively throwing in the London Majors bullpen, so I think it's safe to assume that Owen Boone's going to be coming back out for the 7th.
Yeah, we saw Alex Springer throwing a little bit during the last inning in the top of the 6th, but he is sat down. Reyes Cruz rips that one into right field. That's going to be a base hit. Brown going to come up throwing, being waved around third is Verhoeven. There will be no throw to the plate, and the Majors lead 4-0 on an RBI single for Tommy Reyes Cruz. Majors dugout with some energy as they lead 4-0 now.
You can really see how much this game means to the London Majors with their ace on the mound facing currently the top team in the IBL. Have a 5-0 lead now, and 4-0. Sorry, the scoreboard says 5.
Yes.
That got me a little bit, but
on the move from first is Reyes Cruz. The throw from Cocker is not in time. So Reyes Cruz will swipe second base on the first pitch to Noah Williams off the bench for Dan Battelle. Williams getting his first swings, I believe, this season for the Majors. Big left-handed bat. Here's the pitch, popped high in the air. Foul territory. Cocker looking for it, and it will get out of play. So Williams will get another chance here. One ball, one strike to Noah Williams. 4-0 Majors here. Pitch to Williams, fouled off. Correction, I believe the count is 0-2. Dan Battelle lifted for Williams here. We mentioned we didn't expect to see Battelle hit.
And Rube wasn't lying about the scorebook. That's now, I think, 4 changes in the game.
Pitch, Williams flares that one to center field. Morello ranging over to his right, and he's got it. But the Majors put up 3 in the frame. They lead by a score of 4-0 after 6 from Labatt Park. We'll take a quick break and be right back on Majors TV.
I want to ride this pony, but I suffer from low E.
Millions of people are suffering from low energy, commonly known as low E.
Low E has hurt my performance in the bedroom. I haven't been able to make the bed in years.
Now there's hope. Planet Fitness replaces low E with Big E, which keeps you energized and glowing all day. Simply join through the free PF app for only $15 a month.
Planet Fitness is a proud partner of your London Majors.
You're watching.
Here's the pitch. Joseph drills it to right center field. That ball's going back to the warning track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball. Starling Joseph, a 2-run home run.
London Majors Baseball on MajorsTV.
Welcome back to Labatt Park. We've got a new arm on the mound as the Majors lead 4-0 now over the Welland Jackfish, able to put some more runs on the scoreboard. Alex Springer is into the ball game for the London Majors, the young lefty. He is a junior player, I believe, making his first appearance for the Majors this season. Went to H.B. Beale Secondary School. What you got on Springer for us, Chris?
Yeah, I'm trying to find some information. The most recent thing we found was class of 2021. His PBR card said that he was committed to Connor State. I'm not sure if he pitched there or not, but that's where he had committed to school. Not the hardest throwing left-hander in the world, but again, being a left-hander, I would know you don't have to throw hard to be successful in this league. So working with a 4-0 lead now, a little bit more room for error, which is nice. Hopefully he can come in here and just pound the zone and throw strikes and build off of a great outing by Owen Boone.
So it looks like he did pitch at Connors State College. It's not allowing me to pull up the webpage. It says the connection is not secure. So I don't have any stats for you on his time at Connors State, as you see some fans getting into it right now on the sideline, having a great old time as their Majors lead 4-0, trying to get back in the win column. We talked about how they are 2-8 in their last 10. They're on a streak of 8 consecutive losses, right on par with Brantford. New third baseman into the ball game for the Majors is Brett Graham. So Graham takes over for Noah Williams.
Alex Springer at Connors State this year only appeared in 5 games, 4 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs, walked 2, struck out 3 in that time. So not a whole ton of information on him. 6'2" lefty, 187 pounds is what he's weighing in at. He is a sophomore in college, so a young pitcher making his IBL debut tonight in a pretty big spot, up 4-0, coming in after the ace, just gave you a heck of an outing. But this is exactly what you brought Ruiz in here for, trying to guide the young arm through the rest of his outing and help him feel comfortable through it.
The first thing that happened when Springer went out there was Ruiz meeting him on the mound and talking to him, trying to get him ready for this appearance. First pitch to Sam Cocker misses.
And you'll see that a lot with pitchers and catchers coming out of the bullpen. Most of the best catchers will meet their pitcher out on the mound and just talk about, what do you want to do with a runner on second? Especially with a new guy, what are your pitches?
On the ground at third base, Brett Graham, fresh into the ball game, getting tested. Records the out there. So is Brad Verhoeven getting tested over at first base, because right on that throw, it pulled him off the bag just a little bit, able to stay on the corner and record the first out.
And that's the other thing about a sport like this with a guy like Ruiz who just showed up. There's a pretty good chance he's never spoken to Springer before. He had the pregame with Owen Boone to probably talk strategy and discuss all those things. But with Springer, obviously Ruiz just showed up. He's probably never spoken to him before, so he meets him on the mound and says, hey, what pitches do you throw? That's probably the first question he asks him.
Springer will face Caleb Furstake here, and that one will miss for ball 1. Started the first 2 batters with balls. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another junior getting loose in the bullpen. That is Cam O'Reilly. O'Reilly has not seen a ton of action this season, but Majors manager Rup Chanada getting the juniors loose against the first place squad. Showing a lot of confidence in them as that one misses high. It's 2-1. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Should make a correction on my comment about O'Reilly. He has pitched in 7 games this season. 12 1/3 innings. Alex Springer trying to set down Caleb Furstake, and that one will just miss for ball 3. It's 3-2. Big update on the IBL website on the point streak there. Cam O'Reilly no longer listed as an infielder. Never has been, but was listed as a third baseman for a while.
A left-handed third baseman.
That one is on the outside corner. It's a called strike 3. Alex Springer sets down Caleb Furstake, and there's 2 gone in the top of the 7th inning. Feuersteak hearing it from the home plate umpire, telling him to stop as he's getting frustrated walking back to the dugout.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night for Feuersteak. He does have a hit, but that's now his second strikeout of the game. So he just not super excited about that call.
Luis Jean will step into the batter's box here against Springer. Majors looking for 3 innings out of their bullpen. These fans more worried about who can get their bottle to land first when they flip it, as that one's cut on and missed. 0-1.
Still better than doing the wave, though, in my
That's
opinion.
true. You're not a wave guy?
No, there's nothing worse than being at a Blue Jays game and it's 5-5 in the 7th inning and fans are doing the wave.
I don't know. I love being part of the wave, if I'm being completely honest.
The wave's fine when you're up big.
I guess. Yeah, you know what? Maybe 5-5 game's not the right spot for it.
I still remember it was the first game. It was home opener last season, so 2021 when they were facing the Rangers. And it was 7-7 in, I think, the 7th or 8th inning. And this one dude in the section was trying to start the wave.
Line drive off the bat of Luis Jean, but that one is foul, and it's 1-2.
And I was just letting him hear it because I was standing behind the section, just standing there with a few buddies that were there with me. It was before the outfield district, so we were just standing behind the section watching the game, and this guy's trying to start the wave, and we're just yelling at him, "Stop trying to do the wave. It's a 7-7 game. There's a baseball game." And then I shamed him into stopping, and people around me gave me high fives for it. So it seems like I read the room pretty well.
Yeah, it looks like it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch from Springer is in the dirt, and it's 2-2.
But yeah, if you're up by 8, down by 8, go nuts. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You got to stay entertained somehow.
We are staying entertained here by Alex Springer, who is in his first outing as a London Major and has looked really good so far against the Jackfish. He's got some good stuff. The 2-2 home to Luis Jean. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Alex Springer making an impression. Goes 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 7th inning, including a pair of strikeouts, and the Majors continue to lead 4-0.
That looked like a really, really good changeup from Alex Springer there. That was a pretty impressive pitch from him.
It is stretch time here at Labatt Park. Fans getting up. I'm getting up in the broadcast booth as well. It's been a long game of sitting for us here at Labatt Park. Beautiful evening for baseball, though. We get the treat of watching it from the Game Day London broadcast booth. We had our Cucina Italian kitchen food before the game. Now, Chris, this is your first time with us. What did you think of our food sponsor, Cucina?
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad
pretty
at
good,
all.
eh?
Pretty good spread.
Some great pasta, some garlic bread. They even gave us some pizzas today.
I didn't get a chance to have any of the pizzas.
No.
They were gone by the time I went for the food.
I'm sure they were. They were pretty good.
Must have been pretty good.
As we love our Cucina Italian kitchen here at Majors TV. We talk about them every game and how much we enjoy them.
That's all I needed to know. When I was asked to do this, they said, "We have spaghetti." I said, "No problem.
Perfect.
I'll be there."
Yeah, you're in.
It wasn't spaghetti, but it was pasta, and it was outstanding.
Well, we're glad you enjoyed. We've enjoyed having you here for this broadcast on Majors TV. London leads by a score of 4-0 on the Welland Jackfish. Get a look at the new guy, Chris Ruiz, in the Majors dugout on our 519 Jersey Auction mobile camera. A quick stretch here at Labatt Park, and we are back to action here in downtown London. Mike Mueller will face Keith Candell, Miles Miller, and Chris Ruiz. Here's the pitch from Mueller. Candell squares to bunt, takes one off the plate outside. It's ball 1. Into the windup, Mueller. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. That one's off the plate. 2 balls, 1 strike to Keith Candell. Keith Candell had a reason to celebrate recently. The Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. Keith Candell, a big Golden Knights fan. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
How long has Keith been watching hockey?
I don't know, but he makes it out to a few Golden Knights games every year.
I always find it interesting when people say they're Golden Knights fans, especially when you're not from Vegas.
2-2 home, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Keith Candell goes down on strikes. Mike Mueller now through 1 full inning in this ball game, and there's 1 gone in the bottom of the 7th. Back to the top of the order for the Majors. Miles Miller will step into the batter's box. He's 1 for 3. Couple of ground outs and a bloop single into center field. That bloop single got him aboard for Byron Reichstein, who then hit a home run to cash him and Miller. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. Chris, you may know the answer to this because I sure don't. I've never been a guy who's used protection on the elbow or the leg when I'm hitting at the plate. That one to Miller will miss up and away. But one thing I noticed watching Miles Miller take BP today is he wears it during batting practice. Is that something a lot of guys do to try to get a feel of having the gear on?
Generally, no.
Okay.
And those are the guys that a lot of times you will hear it from your teammates for wearing an elbow guard in BP. It's what you're scared of getting hit by a 60-mile-an-hour fastball. But no, I have seen some guys do it, though. And some guys, especially when they're new to it and they haven't used it in the past, they'll wear it just to get a feel for it.
Miller hits this one on the ground to second base. Tyler Dupuis in, and he'll throw over to first base for the second out.
I think one of the reasons a lot of guys don't do it is because why would I take more time and put on equipment for batting practice?
Fair enough.
That's probably one of the reasons. But I'm also a pitcher, so what do I know?
2 gone now in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Chris Ruiz will step into the batter's box. Ruiz, a walk, a strikeout, and a ground out so far in the ball game. That ground out was on a hit and run in his last trip. Here's the pitch to Ruiz in there for a strike. It's 0-1.
Only thing missing from the game for Ruiz is a hit. He's done pretty much everything else.
Stolen a base. He's thrown a runner out from behind the plate. He's behind on the count 0-2 here to Mueller.
Advanced on a ball in the dirt. Had a really good at-bat that ended in a walk. He's done it all.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Offering on its way, driven to left field, hit pretty well. Feuerstedt going back, looking up, and that one's off the wall. Ruiz charging hard around first. He will dig for second. The tag is in time to get him. Chris Ruiz gave that baseball a ride to left field, bounced up against the wall, but a good relay from the Jackfish, able to throw him out at second base to retire the side and end the bottom of the 7th inning. Majors lead 4-0 after 7 complete here on Majors TV.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of Majors TV.
You're watching London Majors Baseball.
London Majors Baseball. London Majors Baseball on Majors TV.
Back at Labatt Park for the top of the 8th inning between the Majors and the Jackfish. Alex Springer back on the mound, Chris.
Yeah, and he really showed well in his first inning in the IBL. An effective shutdown inning after scoring 3 runs. I would describe him as effectively wild from what I first saw. He's not necessarily in the zone all the time, but he is just around the zone enough to where it makes hitters wonder whether or not they should pull the trigger. And you saw that especially on that last pitch to Luis Jean when he got him way out in front on the changeup.
Get a look at some fans behind the plate. You saw it on your screen there as we were talking about Springer. A reminder to follow the Majors on social media, at London Majors on TikTok, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course right here on YouTube. We're glad you're with us. There's a young fan enjoying the ball game here tonight, staying out late to watch the end of this one, eh? 10 o'clock, still at the ballpark. Good for her.
School's out.
That's true. That's true. It's party time for all the London youth.
You just recently graduated, didn't you?
I did this week, yeah. Thank you very much. Off to university in the fall.
Where are you going?
Toronto Metropolitan. Going to study sports media there, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Probably going to be the most experienced person going into that program.
Hopefully. The Majors have allowed me to gain quite a bit of experience over the past 5 seasons of baseball, including this one. So I'm looking forward to continuing to study, something I enjoy doing.
I was watching a little bit of that broadcast when you guys had Jamie Campbell on, and I saw the clip where he was shocked to hear that you were 17.
Yeah, it was awesome to have Jamie up here. Super nice guy. Very grateful that he took the time out of his night to jump on the broadcast with us. Back here at Labatt Park for this one, Tyler Dupuis will lead things off against Alex Springer. That one misses inside. It'll be Dupuis followed by 2 lefties in Porchelato and Morello. Springer comes set out there on the mound. Here's the 1-0 in the dirt. Squaring around to bunt on that one was Dupuis. You mentioned his speed earlier in the ball game. If he gets one down in the right spot, it's going to be tough to get him out.
Yeah, and he doesn't generally bunt very much. He's more of just a guy who's going to burn on the bases. I will say this, once he's on base, don't expect him to stay on first base very long. He's probably going to be taken off in a few pitches.
Especially in a game where the Jackfish trail 4-0, needing some runs. He swings through that one, and it's 2-1.
Looks like Group's got a lot of faith in the young left-hander. Nobody even throwing in the London bullpen, so it looks like this is Springer's game for at least a little while.
Looks like Pedro de los Santos and Cam O'Reilly standing around there, but yeah, nobody throwing right now. Dupuis hits that one on the ground to second base. Reyes Cruz charging hard. He'll throw over to Verhoeven, and there's one gone in the top of the 8th. Mateo Porchelato steps into the batter's box. He's one of the few guys for the Jackfish that actually saw Owen Boone pretty well. Went 2 for 3. Hit the ball pretty hard in 2 of those at-bats and looking to continue the success he's had tonight against Alex Springer. Springer steps off quickly. Gets the sign he wants from Ruiz, comes set. First pitch, Porchelato fouls that one straight back. And it's 0-1. Springer holds the baseball to his chest as he looks in for the sign, which I think is pretty unique. Usually you see guys with the ball behind the back, or that throwing arm is dangling as that one misses, 1-1, but he holds it right up against his chest.
Yeah, everyone does something a little bit different. I think one of the reasons you see a lot of guys hold the ball behind their back leg is so that the hitter doesn't get a view of whatever grip they might be holding. It doesn't appear that Springer is too worried about that.
1-1, that's in there for a strike, and it's 1-2.
And from what we've seen so far, nor should he be.
Yeah, he's looked really, really solid for the Majors out of the bullpen. Taking over for Owen Boone. Trying to secure Boone his first victory of the season, as that one will miss. 2-2. Owen Boone 0-2 on the year. No wins, 2 losses. Couple no decisions in some starts. He's left 2 starts with the lead. 2-2 home. In there, called strike 3. Springer's got his 3rd strikeout of the ball game in just an inning and 2/3 as he gets Porchelato looking. Two gone in the top of the 8th inning, and Gio Morello will step into the batter's box for Welland. Morello on the day, 0 for 3. Squares around to bunt, drags this one. It's well placed. Nobody's at first anywhere near in time, and Gio Morello with a perfect bunt will reach first base, the first base runner that Springer's had to deal with.
And they've been trying to do that all night. They've been showing bunt, haven't been able to get one in fair play. Morello finally gets one, and you'll see a lot of left-handed hitters do that against left-handed pitchers where they'll lay one down, try to pull it with them. Left-handers generally fall off to the right side, so that's a really hard ball for anybody to get to, and if you get enough pace on it, it's pretty much a hit every single time.
One of the guys who loves to do that and is pretty good at it is new Blue Jay Dalton Varsho.
Dalton Varsho.
He loves dragging that bunt towards the second baseman there. As Moretto hits that one hard, it's going to be stopped there by Brett Graham. A nice play as he throws to second, and the side is retired. So we are through 7.5 here at Labatt Park, and the Majors continue to lead 4-0.
Going off that Dalton Varsho point, really interesting connection that I have to Dalton Varsho personally. His sister, her name is Taylor Varsho, is one of the best female basketball players in my alma mater's history.
Okay.
I went to University of Sioux Falls. Taylor Varsho also was at University of Sioux Falls. She was older than me. She was a senior when I was a freshman. But she, at the time, had set the school record for most points in a single season for women's basketball at our school. And I'm pretty sure they won the conference that season. So they're a very, very good athletic family.
Yeah, of course. Their dad, Gary Varsho, played in the big leagues.
Yep.
Yeah, Dalton Varsho and the Blue Jays did not fare too well tonight. Lost 5-0. The hands of the Boston Red Sox. Jose Barrios getting the loss in that contest. One other game going on in the IBL today. Brantford playing host to Hamilton. Just a second ago when we looked, it was 7-3 Cardinals. Now it's 9-3 Hamilton. Hamilton has made some changes to their game day experience, to their look this season. I mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks ago on the broadcast that I love what they've been doing, and you were telling me before the game you're a big fan of what they've got going on there as well.
Yeah, and having been there for 5.5 seasons, I suppose, it's a lot of the stuff that we as players and a lot of people have been wishing that they had been able to do, and now with new owner Eric Spearin in charge, we had a really good chance to talk to him on the podcast this past week. Really fascinating interview if anybody wants to go and check that out. Shameless plug, but nonetheless. Yeah, they've definitely turned things around, revamped the entire look, changed. They even repainted all the walls, and everything they've done is different, and the team is much better than it was last year. They've almost matched their win total from a season ago already, so yeah. They're definitely a team to watch going forward.
Byron Reichstein, Cleveland Brownlee, Brad Verhoeven due up. Now Hamilton, you guys had a great season in 2019.
Yep.
Third place in the IBL in the regular season. Then they fell off a little bit in 2021, and then a tough season last year as well, finishing lower in the standings. That one will be in there for a called strike one to Byron. So Hamilton regaining that 2019 form a little bit. Yeah,
and it's really unfortunate because we firmly believed that if we had a season in 2020, we had a chance to win the whole thing. We had a great core. We had everybody coming back, and then COVID happened, and our shortstop, Chris Beer, who was an outstanding player, he ends up getting married and moving down to Pittsburgh. We have a couple other guys. Life takes them in separate directions, so it's unfortunate the way it happened, but it's good to see that they figured it back out.
That one hit hard and into right field for a base hit for Byron Reichstein.
Man, he really wasn't joking when he said he was a streaky hitter.
He has been on it tonight.
He was on a run of 0 for 13, and his last three. So 3 games ago, he was riding an 0 for 13 skid, and then his last 3 games, he's now 6 for his last 9. Wow. So he wasn't joking when he said that he was a streaky hitter.
Yeah, 3 for 4 here tonight. As Cleveland Brownlee steps into the batter's box, you may have seen it on your screen. Austin Wilkie taking over as a pinch runner for Byron Reichstein at first base.
Good to see him back.
Yeah, after the phantom hit by pitch that sidelined him for a while.
It's interesting how you can break your hand on a pitch you weren't hit by.
Right, it sure is, as that one misses for ball 1. Wilkie, I remember that game. He was furious, and he had every right to be. He had just gotten hit by a pitch, and he was injured for a while, and the umpire said it didn't hit him. On the move is Wilkie from first base. That one a called strike on Brownlee. The throw is a beauty from Cocker, and they've got Wilkie. So Austin Wilkie caught stealing there, and there's one gone in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Both catchers have shown off their arms tonight, each one catching a runner stealing. That was a perfect throw from Sam Cocker. Put it right on the money.
That pitch to Brownlee looked like it was maybe a little bit up, but got the strike call nonetheless. And Cocker, a beautifully executed throw to second base. 1-1 from Mueller inside to Cleveland Brownlee, and it's 2-1. Battle of the number 35s right now. Here's the offering. Brownlee chops that one foul, and it's 2-2.
Still doesn't look like anybody's gotten up to throw in the London bullpen, so it looks like it's going to be Springer's game to lose.
Alex Springer potentially going for a 3-inning save.
Wouldn't that be a way to make your IBL debut?
It sure would be. Here's the pitch. Brownlee chops that one foul. Reminds me a lot of, with the success he's had, of Jared Lund when he made his debut in 2021. He just kind of burst onto the scene, and I think he saved 2 games in the same day for the majors, if I'm not mistaken, in a doubleheader against Barrie.
Wow.
That was in the 2021 season. He definitely pitched in both games. I can't remember if he saved them both, as that one will miss, and he had great success in both those contests and parlayed that into quite a lengthy run of success that season. Full count to Cleveland Brownlee. 1 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's the pitch. Brownlee swings through that one for strike 3. So Cleveland will go for 4 now after that punch out, and that'll bring up Brad Verhoeven.
Mueller's really settled in since giving up that run his first inning. He's now 2 2/3, or 2 1/3 into his outing. Still only giving up the 3 hits that he gave up in that first inning. So he's been really effective for the Welland Jackfish.
38 pitches through 2 1/3 for Mueller as Verhoeven hits that one on the ground to first base. Porcelato's been busy over there. He'll flip over to Mueller, and the side is retired. So the Jackfish, they've got one more crack at this thing, trying to come back in this contest. They trail currently by a score of 4-0. You're watching Welland and London on Majors TV.
Here we go.
Believe me, you've never heard a talk show like this.
I'm sleeping with Joe Carter. By the way, Joe did not touch the ball.
Yeah, I have to say, like, your voice is fantastic.
Meet Smitty.
Listen, I'm the brains here.
And Mitty.
And I'm the good-looking funny one.
This is the Smitty Mitty Show.
Catch new episodes of the Smitty and Mitty Show wherever you get your podcasts.
You're watching London Majors Baseball on Majors TV.
Back at Labatt Park for the 9th inning, and as expected, Alex Springer back out there.
Yeah, as we just mentioned, he's been outstanding so far in his IBL debut. 14 strikes to 10 balls, hasn't walked anybody, struck out a pair. He's been really effective, and they're hoping to do more of the same.
This won't be an easy assignment. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 for the Welland Jackfish, James Smybert, Hogan Brown, and Sam Cocker. We've got a defensive substitution for the Majors. Will Pollard has taken over in right field for Austin Wilkie. Wilkie pinch ran for Byron Reichstein. Smybert is 0 for 2 on the day for Welland. He's got a fly ball to left field, fly out to left field, a line out to center field, and got hit by a pitch in his last trip to the plate.
And for anybody keeping track, that's now 7 changes for the London Majors.
Wow.
So Roop was telling the truth when he told you before the game to keep your scorebook at home.
Here's the pitch in there for a strike. I didn't know what he meant when he said that, and then I asked him, I was like, Roop, what does that mean? He's like, there's going to be a lot of changes tonight, and there sure have been. 0-1, here's the pitch to Smybert. That one will miss for ball 1. 1-1.
Seems that he's pushed the right buttons, too.
Yeah.
With a 4-0 lead here in the top of the 9th.
If you had asked me who was going to relieve Owen Boone first out of the bullpen today, I would not have said Alex Springer.
How many names would you have gotten through before you said Springer?
Probably all of them. This is Springer's first game with the Majors, and he's looked stellar out of the Majors bullpen.
I think it is a good fit for him, too, against the Welland Jackfish lineup that boasts a lot of left-handed hitters.
That one fouled straight back. Another good move by Roop going to Springer in against this team. Like you mentioned, I mean, I think it's 5 of the 9 hitters for Welland, maybe 6 that are left-handed. So
yeah, 5 of the first 7 hitters in the lineup are all left-handed.
Wow. Coming set is Springer. That one hit hard up on the ground, up the middle. And the Welland Jackfish will lead off the top of the 9th inning with the base runner as James Smybert reaches.
And this game is far from over. The Welland Jackfish have a very potent offense that can easily put up 4 runs in an inning, especially off an inexperienced arm. So we'll see how Springer is able to respond to that leadoff hit by Smybert.
So Smybert aboard, and that'll bring up Hogan Brown. Brown 0 for 3 on the day. Welland trying to climb back in this one. Here's the pitch, fouled off by Brown, 0-1. Majors will give Brown a second to shake that one off. Ruiz will go see Alex Springer on the mound. Springer has thrown 30 pitches through 2 innings of work. You mentioned, Chris, not a huge workload in college this year.
No, he's almost going to match his inning total if he finished this game off.
0-1. Smybert is lead off at first. The pitch to Brown, outside corner, strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. James Smybert over at first base. And stepping off the rubber is Springer. Here is the 0-2 home. Just did miss. And it's 1-2. Home plate umpire Justin Van Horn didn't think that one caught the strike zone. Ruiz did make sure to tell his pitcher that's a good pitch. That's right where we want it. Here is the 1-2. Outside corner. This time he's got it, and it's strike 3 called. One gone here in the top of the 9th inning as Springer is able to get the strikeout there of Hogan Brown.
This is going to be the difficult part of the lineup for Springer now. He no longer has that platoon advantage for 3 of the next 4 hitters.
Here's the pitch. On the ground to shortstop. This could be 2. Candell off the big hop over to Reyes Cruz. Throw to first. Not in time. Majors nearly had a game-ending double play, but Candell had to step back to play the big hop, and that allows Cocker to beat it out at first base. Caleb Feuerstake into the batter's box for Welland. Standing as the last chance for the Jackfish. Sam Cocker stands over at first. Feuerstake pulls that one down the right field line, but it is foul. 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. Springer sets. Pitch on its way. Check swing. That one fouled off towards the parking lot. And it's 0-2. Alex Springer 1 strike away from a 3-inning save in his first outing as a London Major. Chris Ruiz giving some direction.
And this would be a huge development for the Majors if they have something here in Springer as a reliever for a bullpen that doesn't have a ton of great options. it'd be huge for the London Majors.
Here's the pitch. Ooh, that one was close, but it does not get the call. And it's 1-2. Crowd cheering on Springer. Trying to put away the Jackfish. Fewer stake fights that one off, and it's 1-2 once again. Fans standing down the third base line. Springer set out there on the mound. Peeks over at first. Pitch to Fewer stake. Fouls that one off as well. Putting up a good fight. Majors have a 3-game weekend. Home against Hamilton tomorrow and then in Toronto on Sunday. Springer likely won't be available tomorrow. Maybe back on Sunday trying to put away Fewer stake and end this ball game. 1-2. That one misses as well. It's 2-2. Fans not happy with that call, Chris, but I think it's the right one. Looked like it did miss the strike zone just a little bit there.
Yeah, Van Horn's had a pretty consistent strike zone all night. I think he's been quite good back there, and both sides have had a couple complaints here and there, but nothing too extreme.
2-2, 2 out. The pitch from Springer on its way. That one misses. 3-2. Caleb Feuerstake putting up a great battle at the plate right now. Full count, 2 away, top of the 9th. Runner over at first base, Conker will be running on the pitch. Offering on its way. That one on the ground, in the hole, it'll get through. Feuerstake battles all the way back from an 0-2 count to send that one into left field for a 2-out single to keep the Jackfish hopes alive. And now, chaos on the base paths as the throw gets away. And Sam Cocker will move up to third base as Caleb Feuerstake gets into second.
Yeah, it looked like the left fielder there just threw that ball over everybody, and it was just laying there. And the two Welland Jackfish runners had no idea where the ball was, and when they realized, they said, okay, we'll take our free base. Thank you very much.
Well, I wasn't looking up. I was scoring that play, and then all of a sudden, there's 2 runners in scoring position. So Chris Ruiz will go out to talk to his pitcher, the young lefty. Roop Chanadat walks down to his bullpen, trying to get somebody loose. Cam O'Reilly gets throwing. So 2 out, 2 on, both in scoring position. Majors pitching coach Brent Wales out there talking to his young arm. What's the message here in this spot from your pitching coach?
I think they're just trying to slow the game down right here. I don't think there's anything mechanical or anything in terms of pitch sequence that you're too worried about here. I think the main thing is making sure that your young left-hander, who has thrown a lot of pitches, especially here in this 9th inning, that he kind of slows things down, because these are the situations where the game can really speed up on you.
42 pitches in the ball game for Alex Springer. 13 in the 7th, 11 in the 8th, 18 so far in the 9th. 2 out. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Change up there, it looked like, to Luis Jean, and he comes up empty.
That's the second time he's gotten him on the changeup. I wonder if they stay there. I think it's probably a good idea to stay away from his power.
Tying run is on deck. That's Tyler Dupuis. Jean is 1 for 3 on the day. Coming set is Springer. Crowd behind him. 0-1. Jean chops that one foul. It's 0-2.
Another changeup. He was way out in front of that one, too. This time, able to get a piece of it. I think if you throw him a fastball here, you're just speeding his bat up. I'd keep throwing him that changeup until he proves to me that he can hit it.
No balls. 2 strikes, 2 away. We'll see if he goes back to the changeup. 2 runners in scoring position. The rookie Alex Springer on the mound. Here's the pitch. It's in the dirt. 1-2.
Yeah, another changeup there. That one just started a little bit low. It was not super competitive. Luis was able to spit on that one pretty easily. I wonder if they show a fastball here or if they stay with the slow stuff.
Shaking once is Springer. Gets the pitch he wants. The 1-2 home, Jean in the air, on the infield. Back on it for Hoven. He calls off Reyes Cruz. He's got it, and that's the ball game. After an 8-game losing streak, the Majors are back in the win column. to finish the month of June, and it comes against the first place Welland Jackfish.
And you can see how much that win means to these guys right now. Shaking it up over the mound, that's always the best feeling in the game of baseball, shaking it up with your teammates after a big win.
Majors with a big victory here tonight at Labatt Park. Really a good performance all around for London in this one, but particularly by the pitching as they celebrate walking through the handshake line. They've waited a long time for this, Chris. A long losing streak like this one, a win you'll take any way you can get it, but when you have a performance like this, it's an even bigger confidence booster.
Yeah, and it always feels like when you're losing that many games in a row, it feels like you're never going to find a win. And it feels like you got to work so hard for a win, and that's kind of what happened tonight. The London Majors had to work really hard for tonight's win. Threw up a shutout. Owen Boone working in and out of trouble every once in a while, but he was pretty dominant, and they needed a big performance from somebody that they haven't gotten a performance out of at all this season in Springer, and he was excellent with the 3-inning saves. So all in all, a really, really strong team win for the London Majors.
The offense was good when it needed to be, as was the pitching all throughout the contest. We thank you all very much for tuning in. We'll remind you, the Majors are back in action tomorrow at home against the Hamilton Cardinals. Post-game fireworks after a 6 o'clock first pitch here from Labatt Park. Chris Lazar joined me in the broadcast booth today. A big thanks to you, Chris, once again for coming on. For producer and director today, Jackson Farrow. Our camera crew, Cal Johnstone, Kyle Brebner, and Jack said.